Hi, I'm Dr. Gale Gorke, and we're in the Hawthorne School District, about ready to step in and hang out with about 60 guys and gals that are working with kids. We're going to teach them a little bit about who they are in the lives of these kids as mentors and help them understand sometimes why our kids' behavior doesn't quite fall in line the way we'd like it to, and how can we positively interact with them and help them make better choices.
Without further ado, it is our honor and privilege to welcome Dr.
Thank you,
Gorke.
thank you, thank you. So you were laughing at me because I'm like, what city is this? And the reason I'm asking you that is in the last 3 months, I've been to Beijing for 2 weeks, Bahrain for a week, and I did 6 states in 10 days. Got into LAX last night from Virginia, leave tomorrow for Connecticut. And Hawthorne, I'm like, now what's the city? Where am I? I wake up in a hotel and I'm like, I don't know where I'm at. And so good thing is there's things in the room you can look at, so that will help you. Been to China, South Africa, the Dominican Republic, India, Peru, working with teachers, teaching them to teach. And I'm going to tell you, the world is a lot smaller than we think it is. All these games I'm going to play with you guys today, all the things we're going to talk about, doesn't matter what language you speak, kids are kids. Our kids are kids are kids. And I love that she's given you a book that she read 20 years ago. She's like, 20 years ago, this made a difference in my life. Hopefully today it'll make a difference in yours, and we'll give you some resources. I do believe the brain can only endure what the butt can, so if you're sitting, you're probably not learning, which is also why when you came in, there's like no tables, there's only chairs around the perimeter. And I know you saw a heavy stack of handouts. You're like, oh my God, PowerPoint and handouts. You know, but that's not going to happen, I promise you, because I want you to practice the stuff. I need you to leave today changed. I need you to walk out this door different than the way you came in, with skills and abilities and desire, and to make a difference in the lives of our kids. Because the biggest problem is this: our kids are bombarded with stuff that's not real, like reality TV. That's not real. It's all scripted, and if you behaved like the housewives do, how long are you going to keep your job? You understand what I'm saying? This is not how real people, you guys are real. You have real lives, and you have real struggles, and you have real relationships, and you have real goals, and you have a real education, and you're real, and they desperately need you. And to see that this is who they could be when they grow up. And see, the first thing you need to know is this: you are being paid to love kids. And if you don't love kids, get another job. Period. You're being paid to build relationships with children. By the way, you run a program. The program is secondary. Who you are in the lives of these kids is primary. You are being paid to be the best toy in the room. You are being paid that when you show up for work, right? What's your name? Demetra, when you show up, are the kids like, Demetra, what are we going to do? Hey, you guys, Demetra's here! And they all come running over just like leeches, just, right? Okay. If that's not happening to you, you're not doing your job. When you walk in the room, if they're not running to find you and see you and be with you and hang out with you, you're not doing your job. Right? What's your name? T-Marie? Kimari. I'm like, my ears are broken. Kimari, that's beautiful. I love that. Sometimes you have business. You got to go to the DMV, register your car. You got to go sign up for classes at school. Maybe you're not feeling well. You got to go to the doctor. And so there's one day you don't show up. And the next day you show up, the kids are like, Kimari, where were you, man? How come you weren't here? If they're not in your business, you're not doing your job. If they don't care that you don't come, you're not doing your job. You are being paid to build relationships with children, to be the kind of adult they're supposed to grow up. And this job is not for everyone, because there are no breaks. Now, I know you're all in it for the money. You want to be wealthy, don't be an educator. It is not how you're going to make a lot of money in your life. Honestly, you're going to have to do other things. That's why teachers have all these summer jobs and stuff they do. Because it's nice you only work 180 days a year, but then in the summer when there's no check coming in, you got to go find something else to do. Okay? Being an educator is not for everyone. It's for the very best of who we are. It's for the people that inspire greatness in others. Our kids need you to be great. And that doesn't mean perfect, because all of us have things that we are still working on. In fact, them watching you work through your journey and be successful on the other side is some of the most powerful lessons you're going to teach these kids. So if you don't love them, get another job. that make sense? Okay. And it does say Dr. Gale, my parents are proud. People say, what kind of credential do you have? I have a preschool through adult multi-subject credential. I've been at this almost 40. They don't give these out anymore. I've been around a long time. Preschool through adult multi-subject. You know what that means? I can teach anybody anything. That's what it, and I'm just as comfortable in the AP physics class teaching kids slope intercepts so they can build their own roller coasters as I am in the kindergarten class studying the letter I. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter what I'm teaching. It matters how I'm teaching it. It matters about the relationship that I'm building. It matters that when you leave my presence, you walk away with skills you didn't have before you came in. So we're going to start with that. Put your papers, put your bag under your chair. Get out into the play area because there's a reason there's an open room here. Okay? We'll come back to the paperwork, I promise. Because we got to have paperwork because that's how you remember stuff. Guys, handwriting things is the best way to put stuff in your memory. To write it by hand. Not type it on a computer that uses different brain synapses. Best way to memorize something is write it by hand. Okay? So there's a reason I'm going to make you do stuff with your, even if you can't read it later, at least you're writing it. Okay? Are you with me? Okay. First thing you got to do is you got to establish how kids are going to play with you. And by the way, this is after school. It doesn't look like regular day. It can't look like regular day. If we do the same thing they did in the regular day, we're doing Einstein's definition of insanity. And that means doing the same thing over and over again, expecting something different to happen. After school has to look different. And the beauty of after school is, yeah, we got regulations. I know, I help write most of them in the state of California. But the truth is this. You can do it in a way with materials that they don't have the time for in the regular day. You're the one that connects what they're learning in a regular day to how it works in real life. That's why you get to do the cooking classes, and you get to do the sports activities, and you get to do the drama and the visual and the performing arts, because all of a sudden that stuff that they learn in a regular day, that reading and that writing and that social studies, comes to life. Because if the knowledge isn't turned into practice, forget it. Okay? So, first thing you need is a way to get kids quiet without yelling at them. If you walk into a room and you're, hey, you kids need to sit down, shut up, and you're barking and barking and barking at the kids, and then you go home and say, God, I hate my job. All I do is yell at the kids all day. Guess whose fault that is? Yours. Because you haven't taught them when I do this, you do this. So, first thing you need is, and we're practicing a strategy known as TPR. Say that. What you just did is a TPR. It's a total physical response. You're going to show me with your body that you understand. Okay? When I need you to be quiet, I'm going to say these words. The captain is coming. What am I going to say?
The captain is coming.
When you hear the words, anytime, the captain is coming, my expectation is stop your body, look at me, and salute. And I don't care. Use both hands. I don't care. I just need you to stop your body, look at me, and not pester your friends. Isn't that what you need them to do? So when I say the captain coming, it looks like this. Ready? Captain's coming. Look around the room right now. Can you tell just by looking around this room that people are on task? Can you tell just by looking? You can say they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's what a CPR does for you. Now someone might come in late because maybe they ran into the traffic that I did because I've been on the road for 2 hours and 45 minutes to get here. Okay? I live halfway. Anybody been out to the Cabazon outlets out on the 15? Yeah, I live 15 miles this side of that. In a little place called Calamasa. You probably drove by it on the way out. Yucaipa, Calamasa, Beaumont, Banning, Cabazon. Okay. Someone's going to come in late, and they're not going to know what we're doing. And I'm going to say, the captain's coming, and you guys are going to do what? And they're going to go, what are we doing? They're going to do this simply because why? Everybody else is doing it. This is what we do. One of the things you need to establish in your after-school program is there is a culture of the way we behave with each other. There is an expectation in this room that when you walk in, when we say and we do things, we say and do those things together. And we're going to care about each other, and we're going to be kind to each other. Friends, it is not what you do, it is how you do it. So, captain's coming. Excellent. Very good. Could I have one person, go ahead and drop your hands. Can I have one person come out and help me? I need somebody out here. Now, I'm going to tell you what just happened. Realize I did not pick this person. You see, we do this to children all the time. I need a helper, and then we walk around. Which child will I bless with my attention? Which child will I afford this opportunity to? Which one will I gift with my brilliance? I said what? I said what word? I need. Be very specific with the words you use with children. When I say the word need, I want my children in their brain to think, how can I help? Can you imagine a world we lived in if when people heard the word need, their instinct was, how can I help? See, your language is going to change with me. You're going to see that happen. I said, I need someone. And these two are kinesthetic learners. These two are the children that when you said, I need someone, they went, oh. A child who does that is telling you, if you don't pick me, I will bug my friends. They're ones telling you, I'm kinesthetic, I learn with my body. And when that child goes, oh, pick me, we look at him and go, but not you. 20% of the population is kinesthetic. That's when I said, when I need someone out here, only a handful of you even attempted to come. Now, you, sir, are a gentleman. And the reason I say that is because I saw your body language. This is what you thought. I would like to, there is she can take a turn. You are kind and you are a gentleman, and I appreciate that about you. I just embarrassed him in front of his friend. You can tell by the tone of his face, right? When you stop everything you're doing to discipline the one kid who keeps messing up, you just told every other child in the room that if you want my attention, do this. Who did I call attention to? Not yet. You see, 85% of the behavior that kids are doing that sucks, you can completely and totally ignore. Unless they're harming themselves, others, or equipment. Don't call any attention to it. The minute you keep going to all of that, you keep teaching every other kid in the room, if you want my attention, stop what you're doing. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to look at anybody. I'm going to stop what I'm doing, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to address this issue. I just taught every other kid in the room, misbehave if you want my attention. You wonder why it escalates? And why you can't control any of them, and it's like herding cats? It's because the only people you're paying attention to are the ones that are messing up. Unless they're harming themselves, others, or property. If there's something that looks like it's going to get, somebody's going to get hurt, absolutely intervene. Step in there and put yourself in nowhere so you can keep them from doing that. But most of the behavior, the negative behavior that you don't want, is attention-seeking behavior. And if I teach you from the very beginning, if you want my attention, be great. Be kind, be a gentleman. And yeah, you know what? We suck at compliments in the United States. We don't know how to take them. People say nice stuff to us and we get out the way. We're like, oh no, not me. When somebody gives you a compliment and they say something nice to you, it is a gift. Accept it. Be gracious. Say 2 words.
Thank you.
That's it. You wonder why people quit saying nice stuff to you? Because every time they do, you don't listen anyway. We need to learn to give and accept compliments. You showed me with your actions the kind of man you are. And it is awesome to be in your presence. Thank you for that. And your willingness to come, yeah, you all can clap for him. That's right. Your willingness to come out here and put yourself in front of others and be an example. A leader is nobody if nobody follows. You want to look at a great TED Talk. It's one by a guy named Phil Silvers. It's called How to Start a Movement. It's about 3 minutes. He says the most important kind of leadership is the first follower. Otherwise, the leader looks like a lone nut. If they're out there doing whatever, ain't nobody following them, they're not a leader. And what she just showed you is how to lead by following me. I need someone to help, and her energy is out here in the center saying, I'm here. What can I do to help? Plus the fact you learn by doing. You got to touch it, you got to play with it, you got to eat it, or you don't know that it's real. And you've done that your whole life. And a lot of people have given you a hard time about that. They're like, why are you always trying to be the one? Because I don't learn otherwise. Now, if I need you to have a partner, I'm going to say, all hands on deck. What am I going to say? All hands on deck. I will hold up 2 fingers so you know it's a group of 2, and I will say, all hands on deck. And when I do that, my expectation is going to be, you have permission. Because that's what you were waiting for. Did you see she wanted to put her hands on my hands right away? But she was like, am I supposed to touch her? I don't know. Am I supposed to? Crazy white woman in front of me? Am I supposed to touch that person? Yes, you have permission. You can do this, okay? Now, for some people, this is too much touching, right? Especially those boys got to put a seat between them when they go to the movies. They can't do this, right now. But so they can do knuckles. And they could E.T. phone home. Does it matter if we're going to do this, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do this? Did I say when I move my hands, I need you to follow me? Did I give her that direction? No. Because when my body moves, so does hers, because she's kinesthetic. If I got a kinesthetic kid that's running around the room and getting in trouble, and I want him to go sit down, I can't say, go sit down, go sit down, go sit down. Wander aimlessly like the children do. If I'm going, go sit down, go sit down, go sit down, she's not going to hear a word I'm saying, because she is not auditory. She is what kind of learner? So if I need her to go sit down, I'll be like, hey, come here, come here, come here. You see those two chairs over there? I'm going to race you. Go, 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 go. Now you are wandering around like a crazy person, and I need you to sit calmly for just a little bit, just like this. Okay. Do you see how I got her here? Do you see how I'm modeling with my body what I need her to do? If she's a kinesthetic learner, I got to show her kinesthetically what she needs to do. My words don't matter. Thank you. 20% of the population is like this young lady. 20%. And she's awesome. Yeah. 60% of the population is visual. Now, if you have taken any child psychology development class, they have told you there are 3 sensory preferences: auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Have you heard that? And you pass the test and you answer question 15 correct by saying letter C. But nobody ever told you why it's important to know auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. And the reason you need to know that is because every direction you give. Do you give directions in your job? Do you tell others what to do and how to do it? Yes. You have to tell them, show them, and let them. Auditory, visual, kinesthetic. Your words are not enough. And the main reason for that is because only 20% of the population is auditory. Only 20% of the population learns with their ears. That means 80% of them, the words don't matter. In communication, do you know how much importance words have? 7% of communication is the words you use. 7%. That means 93% of the communication you have with others has nothing to do with the words you use. You want to see? I'll prove it to you right now. You ready? I love you! You are probably some of the nicest people I know, and I wish that everyone was like you. Now, what did I say? You see, most of y'all went, I don't know, but you got mad really fast. No idea what you said. Auditory people said, well, the words are not matching. They see, in communication, 7% words, 38% tone. 38% not what you said, but how you said it. And 55% of communication, more than half of it, is body language. 55% body. Next time you have a serious conversation and you're all worried, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Do you ever think, how is my body going to look when I say this? Have you ever thought that? No, you don't think about what your body's going to be doing. And that's why when somebody said I was sorry, we go, no, you're not. Your tone and your body, the words may say, I said I love you. You are some of the nicest people I know, and I wish that everyone could be like you. Those were my words. Is that how it felt? Is that the message you got? 7% words. Only 20% learn with their ears. That means if all you're doing is using your words, you are only 20% effective. I told them 3 times, they're not listening. Well, 20% of them did. It's not enough, is it? Auditory, visual, kinesthetic. Ears, eyes, body. 20% kinesthetic, 20% auditory, 60% More than half the population learns by what they see. Why do you think we got all those sayings? Don't just talk the talk, but picture's worth. I believe it when I. We have all of these sayings because if we don't show. How many times have you looked at someone and what they were doing was in total conflict with what they said? And you went, you're lying. Right? So, 20% kinesthetic. When I said I need a helper, only a few of you want to run out here. Most of the rest of you did this. You rocked back onto one foot or the other. You shifted your weight back physically, and you either crossed your arms across your body in one way or another and said, I can watch. She never coming out here. She doesn't have to. She's a visual learner. She learns by watching others. See, us kinesthetic learners, we make all the same mistakes over and over again. We see other people do it, and we go, yeah, but that's not me. And we do the same stupid stuff they do. She's going to watch and say, I'm not doing that. That was stupid. Because she's a visual learner, and that's the beauty of being a visual learner. The only thing is, sometimes you don't put yourself in the front where you have the opportunity to be in a situation. Does that make sense? That's how I learned to eat fire. I don't know, did I eat fire with you guys a few years ago when I was with you? I was in this mode for a while. I learned to eat fire, and I just can't bring the stuff on the plane, so I have to buy it when I go places. And when you go in the CVS and you buy like 3 cans of butane and a package of lighters, they look at you like, okay, Pyro, buying that for? It's a magic trick. But the guy, when I volunteered, the magician said he'd never seen anybody volunteer quite as quickly as I had. In fact, my chair fell over. I got up so excited. Ran right up there. And so if you friend me on Facebook, and I would love if you did, friend me on Facebook. My video is uploaded of the day that I learned to eat fire, just so you know. And it's a trick, and I could teach you how. I don't have time today, but maybe on another day we will do that. But the thing about it is, sometimes those of you that are visual, you won't put yourself into the place that sometimes you need to be so that you have the opportunity to try some things. Okay? So my encouragement to you is go ahead and sit back and watch it, but then if they give you a chance to get involved, step up. Give yourself that chance to see it so that you understand what to do, but then please try to be kinesthetic. The way you show up. The way, okay? All right, so when I say all hands on deck, I'm going to give you this. I showed you how it looks. So all hands on deck for me, get a buddy. All hands on deck, get a buddy. This is it. That's what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for right here. Excellent, excellent. That's all right. You can, now, here's the thing okay, wait. If you don't have a buddy, come see me. If you don't have a buddy, come see me. I don't want 3s, I want 2s. If you don't have a buddy, come see me. Come see me. Now, I want you to recognize what I just did. You see, the children are going to continually look at you to be the one to solve their problems. The fact that they didn't have a buddy, that's not my problem. That's their problem. So what I said was, if you don't have a buddy, come see me. And I put all the resources in the same part of the room. And then I walked away. And if you looked at their faces, they're like, come see me. And they're like, where's she going? How come she's not helping us? And then this guy, he saw me walk away and he thought, you don't got a buddy? We can be a buddy. And you fixed it. And you saw him do it. You thought, oh, that's a good idea. See how good you are? That was brilliant. I didn't say, if you don't have to, you don't come over, you come over here. And because you know the kids that don't get the buddies on the first round are the ones that some people don't want to be buddies with. And when I always have to intervene, yeah, see, I did not mean to diss you. I am so sorry. That was not my intention.
We're good.
I just want you to understand. I want you to understand this process, okay? The thing is, if I put everything in this, and my expectation is you're going to fix this. I'm not going to have to come in and intervene for this. I'm going to put all the people who don't have somebody in the middle, and you figure out how to make it work. Because can you imagine your program if the children would self-regulate? If you didn't have to regulate them, how cool would it be if they would just do the right thing because it's the right thing to do? Now, the other thing I'm doing to you right now is I'm putting you in each other's personal space for a really long time. I am forcing you to be within that and make that connection. And some of you already are going, oh, too much. And you're grown-ups, and you get, look at the little guys, and they got ET because they are touching the minimal amount. These guys here, we got you, man. We got you. Yeah. Yeah, don't do this with women with big rings because it's like, ow, what was that? Okay. I do this with my kids because I need to teach them you can be in each other's personal space. And so a lot of times I'll put them like this and I'll talk to them about the directions of things and stuff, and I'll make them stay right where they are. And I watch which ones have a really hard time with it because then I know what their personal spaces thing. Do you understand what I'm doing? Okay, now I'm going to show you how to pick teams in less than 20 seconds and no one is the last one picked. How many times you take 20 minutes to pick teams and then you got like 10 minutes to play? And then there's always the one kid who wasn't picked. Right? Right? Anybody been the last one picked? Raise your hand. Sucks. Sucks to be the last one picked. It's like, well, I guess we'll take him. And you're like, oh, you don't even want to be on a team because nobody even wants you there. You're like, this. Okay, so if I can show you teams, less than 20 seconds, no one's the last one picked. Are you ready? Step 1, captain's coming, got us quiet. Step 2, all hands on deck, gave us a buddy. Step 3, drop your hands and one of the two, put your hand up. One of the two, one, rock, paper, scissors, figure. They're like, if your hand is in the air, wave it like you just kidding. No, if your hand is in the air, I want you to come and form a group for me right here. If you did not raise your hand, I want you to come and form a group for me right here. Hands this way. No hands over here. No hands. Hands over here. No hands. Okay? Hands crew, go that way just a little bit and turn this way. Excellent. Now, how many teams do I have?
2.
Who was the last one picked?
No one. I feel like I was.
You know what? Because I've already given this poor gentleman a hard time from the beginning. It's good that you have a wonderful sense of humor. I am so glad that the smile on your face is your whole face. I love that. I love that. Okay. Here's what we just did. No one's the last one picked, and I put however many people in this room, probably almost 40 of you, right, in less than 20 seconds, okay? So I need a group of 3. Now we got a secret, okay? Watch how she does. The captain is coming. When we do it, just watch what she does, okay? Y'all ready? You're all in on it now. Okay. This is why you are never late for my trainings, because I make you part of the training. Okay, so I need 3 to help me. Excellent. Thank you for letting someone else take a turn. That was very nice of you. Okay, now I got my 3. Now, the Titanic has sunk, but your heart will go on. Celine Dion, you are in the water.
Okay.
You fell off the boat. Now, would you like something that floated better than you? Like a life preserver? Yes. Excellent. Now, do not tell children hold hands. When you tell children hold hands, they say what? Oh. Because you see, in our society, holding hands means something. They holding hands. You don't hold hands with just anyone. You only hold hands with ones you have an attraction to. So when you tell children, hold hands, they're like, no way, man, especially that one. I don't want to hold hands with that one. You know, it's like, so don't use those words. Don't use the words that have these meanings that are underlying in our culture. I never tell children to hold hands. I tell them to join hands. See, join hands means we are the world. It doesn't mean the same as hold, does it? And so if I say, they're going to become your life preserver, you're going to be in the middle, and the two of you need to join your hands around him. So he's in the middle, reach around him and join your hands. Excellent. This is called there's a person overboard. It's a person with a life preserver. Do you see it? Auditorily, I have told you. Visually, we have shown you. Kinesthetically, what's my expectation? Do groups of 3. Exactly. So when I need you to be in a group of 3, I'm going to say, there's a person overboard. Look here, because this will tell you how many in the group. Are you ready? Person overboard for me, please. If you don't have 3, come see me. If you don't have 3, come see me. If you don't have 3. Okay, so now hang on a second because we have a concern here. And this will happen with your children, will it not? What's my issue here, friends? We got one too many. Now there's rules that we have to follow with kids, okay? There's rules we have to follow with kids. But then there are greater rules. The rule was 3. But the greater rule is what? No one's ever left out. We save them. So somehow this group of 4 has to create something that's similar to the 3, but incorporate an extra person, because there is the rule that we want you to be in groups of 3, but there's the greater rule that we always make room for anyone, because no one is ever left out in our group. So what's one way we can incorporate a 4th person?
You can have somebody in the middle and 3 people over.
Oh, good. I love that idea, because that's an upgrade. Because now look at this. This girl got one with a balcony. Do you see it? What's another way that we could solve this? They could do all hands on deck. We just go to group of 2? Yeah. We could put 2 inside. That would be really cozy, right? But see, now one of the things that I think is interesting is her solution allows for the fact that there's still some personal space, because you're not going to be happy climbing inside with a bunch of people you don't know. So personal space is a thing. And one of the things I learned about you is that you're going to respect personal space, because your solution provided for someone to be there, but you broadened out. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I learned something about you because of the solution that you picked to do in this. So I love that about you, is that you honor people's personal space, and that's a very respectful thing to do. So thank you for that. I appreciate that about you. Okay. When you do this with your kids, you're me. What do you see me doing? Specific praises in front of their peers. If you want my attention, be brilliant, because I'm going to see it, and I'm going to tell everybody else how awesome you are. What else do you see me doing? What am I doing in this room right now? What kind of presence do I have in this room?
It's a strong presence.
Strong, but not mean. I'm in charge, but I'm not hostile, right? There's no doubt in your mind I'm in charge. I'm the best toy in the room. You're like, what's she going to say next? And you know what else I am? I'm funny. Right? You're like, she's going to say something funny. Just listen. And you see, the reason I love funny is because humor and laughter are both in the neocortex of the brain. You don't laugh if you don't think. And that's why some of your favorite people in the world are funny. And also right now, are you not in each other's personal space again? But you realize this has gotten easier for you because we did the other one. You're learning. Okay? All right. Everybody let go. Captain's coming. She has no idea why she's doing it. But you jump right in. You're like, we're doing this now. I don't know why. I told you, go ahead and put your hands down. Do you understand? Right. When you establish a culture, when you establish an environment that the minute those kids walk through the door, they think to themselves, this is how we behave when we're here. This is what we do. And maybe we do something completely different in our own classroom, because I've gotten kids that don't know how to behave in regular day be some of the best kids ever in after school. And if the teachers come to me and say, how you get the kid to do that, man? I can't get him to do that. And I'm like, well, if you'd like to know, there's a few things I could share. Right? See, you're an unwelcome guest for the most part. I wish it weren't that way. But schools will create feel toward after school. They'll behave toward after school in one of 3 ways. They're going to love you, they're going to hate you, or they're not going to care one way or the other unless they hear something negative. And it's going to be a continuum of that. You're going to find some principals who know the value and end up doing this and some administrators from the school district that know the value of after school, like the one doing her work right now and not paying any attention to me. Yeah. You're going to find some advocates for you in very, very interesting places. And some of our best advocates are principals that recognize how valuable this is to their families. Some of them get it. And the minute you start making connections with the regular day, the minute they quit thinking of you as those kids, like some alien ship landed and you brought out children that weren't there all day long. They have to realize these are the same children who have been there. This isn't these are their kids. And so you need to come in and be the kind of person who fosters this positive, enthusiastic, kind, knowledgeable, gracious, professional. You know, you're young. And a lot of old teachers like me look at you and go, that's an after-school program. And you got to show them your brilliance. And you're going to do that by the way you build relationships with kids. And when they can see you can get kids to do things for you that the regular day teacher can't get them to do, you'll know that you have won them over. Because when they start coming to you and saying, hey, what'd you do with the kids the other day, man? That was really cool. And if you know what's going on in their class and you do stuff in the after-school program that helps them understand their regular day classwork, they're going to love having you around because teachers basically don't have enough time to teach the kids everything they need to know. That's why after school exists. When I did after school in Alvord out here in Riverside County, 78% of our working population commuted 3 to 6 hours a day. You know who's raising our children? Afternoon television. Judge Judy, Maury, Springer. You know, all these guys. How many court shows are there where families they're suing each other because they can't solve a solution another way? Do you see what I'm saying? And then we wonder why our kids misbehave like that. Look at the adult role models on television. Most of them are profane because they're all bilingual. They speak English and cussing like it's a second language, right? Right? And they're materialistic, and they don't have positive and healthy relationships, and then we wonder why the children behave like that. They need us to show them something else. Am I making sense? If you were in the middle of your group, please come to the middle of the floor. Middle to the middle. Of the two that are left, or three, the 2 or 3 that are left, would one of you raise your hands? Of the 2, okay, middle to the middle. So if you're already here, you're the middle. If you're one of the 2 that was left, raise your hands. Hands go that way. No hands go this way. Middle to the middle. Hands that way. No hands that way. Now how many teams do we have? 3. Who was the last one picked? Nobody. Now when you do this, some of you are like, I don't remember if I was in the middle or not. When you do this, you will have children say, she said 3. So you go get in the middle of that group, and I'll go get in the middle of this group. And when she says the middle to the middle, we can be on the same team. If you got a kid figuring that out, they deserve to be on the same team. That is a clever child, because they're putting themselves in a place where when you do the rules and the things work out, they end up in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. Okay? Make sense? Everyone but 4. I need 4 to stay. I need the rest of this group to take a step back. 4 to stay, the rest of the group to take a step back. Okay, very good, very good. Now, again, it took a little while, didn't it? And see, we are not patient with our children. We solve it for them, and then they don't self-regulate. When you start doing this with your kids, sometimes you're just going to have to sit back and wait until they figure it out. And your instinct's going to be, it's wasting too much time. It's wasting too much time. We got to get going. We're not going to. And the point is, it's not wasting time if you're teaching them how to behave. The lesson isn't to group. The lesson is behave. Self-regulate. Make the right choices because they're the right choices to make. And I wait as long as it takes. And initially, with some kids, it takes a little while. Same thing like when I ask them to be quiet. When I do the captain's coming and I ask them to be quiet. I don't keep saying, captain's coming, hey, captain's coming, hey, you guys, captain's coming. I go, the captain's coming. And then I model exactly what I want them to do, and I wait as long as it takes. And if kids are still farting around and not paying attention, then I use a thing called proximity. And I walk over, and I stand in the group that's talking, and I look at them like, y'all need to salute, and then I put myself right next to them. because my mere presence makes him uncomfortable. And proximity, using your body in the room. You don't have to tell kids when they're messing up. All you got to do is go stand near them and look at them like, you are messing up. I don't have to say it. And most of the time when I discipline kids, this is a look on my face. I smile at them. I'm like, dude. And he's like, sorry. Does that make sense? I don't have to be mean and authoritative and come in and I just have to walk in and say, you know what, I need you to be brilliant. This is what it looks like. We're going to be quiet without me having to tell you again and again and again. If you want them to be quiet, you need to be quiet. You need to model for them the behavior that you want from them. This is a group of 4. It's called Man the Lifeboats. You two guys are going to be the back of the boat. You're going to sit side by side like this. This is excellent. Thank you. Could you two gals jump in front here and face me? Perfect. Now, don't paddle in the middle of the boat because you don't go anywhere, okay? So you two, this is your side to paddle on. You two going to paddle over here, okay? You ready? Paddle. Now, I can tell if you've ever been in a boat. I can tell if you've ever been in a boat. I'm telling you, when I talk to children that are urban children that have never been in a boat, that you say paddle and they go, they don't know you grab the oar and you put it in the water and you know, I'm in Iowa and I say this, the kids are like skimming the blade across they're switching hands, they can kayak for gosh sake, you know. These guys are like, I didn't know what to do. Paddling, okay? And so there's a group of 4, okay? It's called Man the Lifeboats, okay? So I've told you, I've shown you what's my expectation. Get into groups of 4. Get into groups of 4. Go, go, go. Quick, get in groups of 4. You guys are my model. Good, good, good. You're already there. You're already there. You're already there. Groups of 4. Groups of 4. What are you saying? What? Wait. What did you say?
We need one.
Say it one more time.
We need one.
Do you hear the language? Not we don't want you in our group. We need one. And so here's a whole group of people. How many of you ended up in a boat and you were like, well, apparently this is my boat? Because people just jumped up next to you and you're like, I guess I'm here. It's not what we teach, friends. It's how we teach it. What are you learning right now? How to teach. What else are you learning? Friendship. What else are you learning? Body language. Having fun. What else are you learning? Do you hear it? Do you hear the layers? We've played one game. One game, and you have learned and learned and learned. You have this remarkable opportunity to spend time with children. And it's not babysitting. It's time to help them learn their greatness, teach them what they can do in the world to make it a better place, find out who loves them and cares about them. You have time with them. And it's not, oh, crud, we got a half hour. What are we going to do to kill the time? No, it's like, we got a half hour. What lesson can we teach? What games can we play? I group and ungroup my kids so often, they don't even care who they're with anymore. They just get in a group because they know it might not be the one they end up in. Sometimes it is. Sometimes I just need them in groups of 4. And I say, man, the lifeboats, and they do. Sometimes I need 4 teams. So I put them in a group of 4, and I say, okay, now turn and number yourselves 1, 2, 3, and 4. Everybody turn, number yourselves 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hold it up with your fingers so you don't forget your number. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hold it up so you don't forget your number. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Excellent. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, what if I say this is area number 1 right here? What area is that? 2. Unless you have the child who says it could be 4. Because they what? They went the number direction. Yeah, they thought out the box. I say 1, you say 2, but the one kid who numbered the other direction could be 4. And they're challenging you. They're challenging the status quo. And so then when I have a kid who says 4, I say, well, now why would you say that? And he says, well, because you could number the other. That is a great idea. You know what? We're going to number the other way. And the minute I let that kid have that, he quits taking me on. Because I just recognized his greatness, and he had a great idea. And the last time you felt like you belonged was when you were allowed to contribute. You see, to me, inclusion, and I work with departments of disability in other countries, inclusion means contribution. It's not just let you in the door. It's when you get in the door, what are you great at? What can you do with us? How can you show us the amazing part of who you are? Last time you gave an idea and the group you were with took it, and your idea came to, and you're like, that's my idea. I did that. That's mine. And then you finally felt like you belonged. Contribution. And the kid who takes you on needs to know that he belongs. And the minute you accept that and move with it, you just told him, I get it. You're going to go the opposite way. All right. We can work with that. I'm not going to fight you. If we're going to say that's one, y'all said this was two. What's this?
3.
What's that one? 4. Look at your hand. Go to your corner. Are you having a good time? Good, good, good. Thank you. Now let me talk about my visual learning friend right here. This is my visual learner. And I'll tell you why I know she's a visual learner. Because this is what happened in your group. I said number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they told you were number 3. And you're like, okay, I'm number 3. And then when I said go to your corners, you didn't hear that. They all just walked away, and you thought, well, where are they going? And then you looked over and you saw the 3s and you went, oh, okay. And now you're here. And she made it. And she did the right thing because it was the right thing to do. But she didn't get it the way some of the rest of you did. She got it another way. And you're grown-ups. You're grown-ups. We wonder why the kids behave the way they do is because guess what? This starts at an early age. Sensory preference, how we learn auditory, visual, kinesthetic, something we learn early and we carry it throughout our lives. Okay? I need 5. 5. You notice I'm getting some new people. Do you see that? I'm getting some other people out here. By the way, I'm telling you, she's not auditory at all because she's still holding her fingers up. Okay? She's like, I don't know, I'm still doing this. And I think you are remarkable. Thank you so much for letting me bug you a little bit. Okay? and the Chinese shoes are awesome. Okay, so these are my 5. I need a table. I got 2 tables. I only need 1. Okay, this is our table. Okay, y'all are the sailors. You got to come over and eat off the table. Okay, sailors are really messy eaters. They're like, "Arr, arr, arr, arr." Eat up. There you go. So 1 table, 4 sailors. It's called grub time. It's a group of 5. 1 sailor. I'm sorry, 1 table, 4 sailors. Group of 5. I need groups of 5. Grub time. Grub time. We eat lobster? Is that what he said? He says, where's that lobster fork? We need a group of 5. That's good. We got 5 there, 5 there. What we got? There we go. We got 5. We got 5. Look at that. And the captain's coming. How many of you actually heard me say the words, the captain is coming? Raise your hand if you heard it. How many of you are doing this because everybody else is? Okay? See, because you're not auditory. Or there was a lot of noise. I only said it once. You're going to see that pretty soon I'm not going to have to say it at all. Since 60% of the population is visual, I'm going to get you to a place where I'm just going to go like this. And in just a couple of seconds, because the visual ones are going to go, oh, I don't know if she said it or not, but this is what we're doing. Because they're not going to care about the words. Can you imagine being able to get your kids quiet without having to say a word? If you teach them, they will learn. If you take the time to teach them, you can reach them. But you got to take that time up front. And you got to come in with an attitude that they can and will learn from you. If you're coming in with, oh, these kids just drive me crazy, you don't think they know? All the lessons you teach, you don't even know you taught, right? They know what car you drive. They know what music you listen to. They know what ringtones are on your phone. They know who's calling. They know what fast food restaurant you go to. They know what you order when you go there. They know which stuff you like and you don't like. They know which other employees you do and do not get along with. You never had this conversation with the children. You know why this job is hard? There is no break. From the minute you park your vehicle and you walk across the campus, some kid, some place is watching you. And some of the most important lessons you teach, you don't even know you taught them. You don't even know you taught them. Go to your seats real quick. We started around 9:45. So we've been playing for over an hour. Did it feel like it? No. No, you're like, what are we going to do next? What are we going to touch? How are we going to? And see, that's the kind of environment you need to establish with your kids. Some of the most important lessons you're going to teach, you're not even going to know you taught them. I had a kid come back 6 years after I'd had him in 6th grade. He was graduating high school. See, that's part of the problem with this kind of work is you're a seed planter. That means that you don't always get to see the fruit. You plant the seeds, you fertilize the seed, you water the seeds, and then they all go away somewhere. And you never know where your influence went. Until maybe when you've been at this for a long time, one or two of them come back to you and say, you know, you were the one. You were the one that made a difference in my life. And there was this young man standing at my door, and with the facial hair and the lower voice, I could see the boy that had been in my class in 6th grade. And he's a 12th grader, and he handed me a ticket. He said, Miss G, will you please come watch me graduate high school? Now, I don't know about your high school graduations, but where I live, they're very small, and you only get so many tickets. And those tickets go to who? Family. And it's a hard decision to make. Right? And this guy, I hadn't seen him in 6 years, and he said, will you come? And I said, hey, dude, I am so coming. I'm going to sneak in whatever noisemaker I can, and when you cross that stage, you're going to know that I'm there for you. But why me? Don't you have an auntie, a tia, a tanta, some other relative that needs this ticket? And he said, no. He said, I want you to be the one there. And I said, okay. Can you tell me why? And he says, oh, yeah. He said, you are the only teacher in all 12 years I've been in school that ever apologized for making a mistake. I said, I did? And when did I do that? Because I did not remember having done this. And had he not come back to me, I wouldn't have this story today to tell you. Okay? Now, I had a spot in the front of my classroom near the chalkboard. Chalkboard. Not the white, dry erase or smart, but I like chalk. Because you could load the eraser up with chalk, and if the child was not paying attention, you could chuck it at the child, and it would go. And they would go out to recess, and the playground supervisor would say, you weren't paying attention in class today because you got chalk on your shirt, right? That's why I don't teach anymore. You can't throw things at the children. And so there was a chalkboard. And next to the chalkboard, I had my overhead projector. Not my LCD Elmo document camera, but my overhead projector with these clear acetate sheets and the vis-a-vis pen, okay? And we knew who the teachers were because for 9 months we were tatted with vis-a-vis pen. The side of your hand was stained for like, you'd stand at the grocery store, someone say, you must be a teacher. I'd say, how you know? Vis-a-vis right here, man. Vis-a-vis. And I had it near the front of the room where the chalkboard was and the overhead projector and my dittos. Now, let me explain to you about some things that have happened because of technology. When we taught, there were no copy machines. It had not been invented, okay? There was this thing called a Ditto Master, and what it was is it was a white sheet of paper that had this purple chemical that we don't know what that chemical was, okay? And it was a white sheet that laid on top, and with a pen or a typewriter, before computers existed, we used these things called typewriters, and you strike the letter and it would make the, so then what would happen is this purple chemical would superimpose on the back of this white piece of paper. You would peel it off, you would go to the teacher's lounge, and there was a cylindrical machine with a handle, and it was filled with another chemical that we don't know what that one was either, but it had something to do with alcohol, because that thing was like pungent, right? And so that's why all the teachers from my generation have forearms like baseball players. Because the way we made copies were, we were claggada, claggada, claggada. About halfway through, we have to change arms because this would get tired. And this is how, and it would go through and it would coat with this chemical and it would come out over here and it would be wet. And no matter how long those papers were stacked, as long as those papers were stacked, you would still hand them out and sometimes they would still be wet. And this is why everybody over 50 is not right. Because when they'd hand us one of those wet, chemically coated papers, we would go, we huffed dittos all through school. That's why we're not. Copy machine, no. I had a chalkboard, I had an overhead projector, and I had dittos. And I told my kids, if I'm anywhere else in the room, you don't need to pay attention to me unless I'm having a conversation with you. Get what you need, do what you need to do. But if I come to the front of the room and I stand in this spot, I need you to stop what you're doing. I need you to look up and pay attention because I'm going to tell you something important. I had a substitute teacher find it by accident. She's walking around a room and the kids are all working quietly on stuff. And she walked to the front of the room and she stopped in the front of the room. And my kids stopped and looked up at her. And she went, she gave them a couple minutes. They all went back to work, doing what they were supposed to do. She went back and she stood in that spot again. They stopped, looked up. She wrote in a note, "What did you do to your children?" Well, I had expectations. When I do this, you do this. And if kids know what the expectations are, and you are consistent, and across your staff members, consistent with your expectations, your kids will do what you need them to do. The other thing is I had children that would do things for me that I didn't like to do or that I didn't care about. Like I don't care how many checkers are in the Chinese checkers box. If you come to me and say, I'm missing a pawn, I'll be like, here's a half a crayon. That's your new pawn. I don't go looking for the pawn somewhere, right? Half a crayon. Some of you went, see, some of y'all count the crayons. You put them in the box in a specific order so that every box has the exact right number of crayons. And then all the boxes are lined up exactly in the same position in the Some of y'all care about crayons. I did not care. But I found children who did. And I put them in charge of the crayons because they made them look good. I had children that would organize my cupboards and they would do my bulletin boards. And they would, because you know what? I helped, but I didn't care about it like they did. So I had a young lady that took care of counting everything for me, making sure all my stuff was put away and there was the right number of everything because it mattered to her. And I had these things called crazy puzzles. Now, crazy puzzles, series of 9 squares that you put them out and they make a perfect square. And you line up the tops and the bottoms and make it even. And you could sit quietly at your desk and do this. Now, I know with no child left under the bus. I'm sorry, no child left behind. I said that wrong. If y'all are 18, 19, 20 years of age, you hate school. You hated it because all day long they said math and language, math and language, math and language, take the test. Math and language, math and language, math and language, take the test. Pass the test. If you don't pass the test, your teacher's going to lose their job. School's not going to get money. Take the test, take the test. And you thought you went to school so that you could learn how to what? And then you took the test and thought, why are we still here? You didn't get glitter on your clothes because they took art away. You didn't get to take the white glue, pour it on your hands, spread it out, let it dry. Peel it off and give it to your friend and say, look mine, does yours look like me? You didn't do that because they took away art. You didn't learn to play an instrument because they took away music. And by the way, playing an instrument is the only thing that uses all of the brain simultaneously. It's the only thing we know that uses all of the brain all at the same time. You need to learn to play an instrument. And I don't care what instrument you learn to play. It might be your voice. If you can read music and you're using your voice, that's your instrument. But being able to read music and sing along or play along with others, this is the only thing that uses all 4 quadrants of the brain. Every child should be in the United States required to learn to play an instrument. But you know what? We took that away along with recess, and then we wonder why our children are bullies and they are violent, because guess where you learn to get along? By the way, I never take recess from children as a punishment. I never take recess from children as a punishment. If I got a kid who's misbehaving inside the classroom with other children, how does leaving him in the room by himself teach him to get along with others? And all it does as a teacher is piss you off, because now you don't get to go to the bathroom when you need to and you get a bladder infection. And the break that you're supposed to have when they go out to recess, you don't get that either, so the copies didn't get run so that you couldn't get... And now you're mad at that kid for even more reasons. What I would do with kids that misbehave in class is I would look at them and I would say, okay, you've had a really hard time in class today. So this is what I want you to do. You are going to go out to recess. And all that energy, all that stuff you're doing here that does not belong here, I want you to put it out on the playground. I want you to run and scream and wrestle and do all of the things. And then after recess, when you come back in, you do better. because my goal was to teach, not punish. My goal was to change behavior, not punish. Get you from here to here. How do I get you from here to here? So don't take recess. If you got a kid who can't control himself, let him have recess. I had a kid, he hadn't had recess in almost 2 years. And the last class before he was lighting his crayons on fire in his desk. Now, not because he was being violent. He had read online an art project with melted crayons. And he was trying to do artwork with matches in the classroom. And everybody, when he came to my class, I said, okay, you guys know Aaron? Yeah, he set his crayons on fire last year. Everybody knew. And I said, okay, so Aaron has this space in the classroom. He has a 6-foot space. I taped it on the floor. I gave him 2 desks and 3 chairs. And I made him my messenger for the whole year. And he went to recess every single day. Because, see, Aaron was ADHD. And so my kids go, I said, he's going to be the messenger all year. And they said, that's not fair. Because, see, kids don't care about equality. They care about equity. There's a difference. Equity means that you get what you need because it's fair. Kids don't say, that's not equal. What do they say? You need to be fair. I said, well, if he doesn't want to take the thing and he can ask somebody else to, would that be fair? And they said yes. Because they all knew Aaron needed that extra. And I'd give him messages that were not messages. I would take a piece of paper and say, Aaron needed to take a walk. And I would send it with them to go give to another teacher. And a teacher would sign, thank you very much, Aaron. Take this back to your teacher. And there was no reason except to go let him go and come back because that helped him reset. And then he did better when he got in class. And Aaron went out to recess. And guess what? Aaron was a really good athlete. And nobody knew it. And once he got out there and got to play, he had friends. And those friends helped him to discipline himself in class because he wanted to be able to work with his friends who liked him and were like, dude, don't get in trouble, man. We need you at recess. We need you at lunch. We need you to be on our team. Making sense? So my gal counted, and she came up to me and she said, Miss Gorke, the crazy puzzle's missing. I go, what? She goes, the one with the dinosaurs. It's not in the box. I said, well, where'd it go? She goes, I don't know. I said, okay. So I walked up to the front of my classroom and I said, hey, who took the dinosaur crazy puzzle? Listen, I paid for those out of my own money. That was 30 of them at $7. That's $210 I spent on you guys so that you wouldn't bug your friends when you finished work. And by the way, when you steal from one of us, you steal from all of us, and stealing isn't only wrong when you get caught. Does that sound like conversations you've had with some of your children? Yeah. And they're all trying to, dime everybody. I don't know if she did a ticket. They don't know. I said, okay, you guys, you put your heads down and you think about it because in a minute I'm going to ask you this question again and I need you to tell me the truth. And they all put their heads down on their desk. And I started to walk back to my desk. And about halfway back to my desk, I realized I had lent that puzzle to the teacher next door. Now, I have 2 choices. I could say, hey, look, someone brought back the puzzle. Isn't that great? Or I stepped back into that spot and I go, hey, guys. And they picked up their head, and they all had a red spot, from their, they rubbing their eyes. I said, I lent that puzzle to Miss Howe next door, and they were like, oh, Miss Gorke, man, we didn't do nothing, and you chewed us out. Barely right now, that's not right. You see, I taught in a class that was 95% free and reduced lunch, 85% Hispanic. Only 2% of my parents were professionally trained. That meant 98% of my parents, blue collar, no collar, welfare. And the worst thing you can do to a child who comes from that community is to blame them for something that they didn't do because they're already getting blamed for everything else. And when I stood in front of them and I said, you know what, guys? I'm so sorry I accused you of something that you didn't do. What can I do to make it up to you guys? Because I care about you and I would never want to harm this relationship. And they said, can we have 10 more minutes of recess? I said, yes, you can. And that day when all the other classes went in, I played with my children for another 10 minutes. 6 years later, that was why he wanted me to watch him graduate high school. I had him in 6th grade. I had him 7.5 hours a day for nearly 10 months. And the most important lesson I taught him was, when you screw up, you own it. You apologize that you mean it. You try to make it up, and you recommit to that relationship, because that's how a proper apology is taken. Some of the most important lessons you teach, you're not even going to know you taught them. I need you to stand up and get into groups of 5. Stand up and get into groups of 5. 1 table, 4 sailors. We're going to grub time. 1 table, 4 sailors. Grub time for me, if you would, please. Please form a single file line with your group. Form a single file line with your group. Single file line with your group. Now, we are going to gently. Gently is an adverb. It ends in the ly. Any word that ends in an ly is an adverb, and it tells us how we're going to do something. You're going to gently put your hands on the shoulders of the person in front of you. Now, just give a nice little rub right there. Yeah. See, most people are like, this is a great game, except for the one at the end who's like, if you are in the front of the group, wave at me and say, I'm the engine. Very nice. If you're at the back of the group, wave at me, say, I'm the caboose. Now, by the way, if you are a caboose, you are a historical item. Trains no longer have cabooses. They used to have a caboose, which basically didn't carry anything and told you it was the end of the train. And they thought, well, maybe you could figure that out for yourself. I don't know. Now they put more engines on the back of the train. But we're going to play it old-fashioned way. So front of the train is the engine, back of the train is the caboose. Excellent. When I say the words, the trains are leaving the station, you need to give me a woo-woo, and you're going to give me a little fist pump and go woo-woo, like that, okay? All right, so give me your woo-woo. Nice, nice, good. Now, when I say trains are leaving the station, you give me a woo-woo, and engines, you're going to move around the room. Now, keep your train together, okay? You can't have any derailments here, all right? You are responsible to be a good leader. Keep your train together, move them around the room. When I say the trains are coming into the station, out of the station is woo-woo. Into the station, I want you to come to a complete stop and give me a quick air brake. Psst. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, air brake. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Well done. Okay, so it's kind of like when they open the bus door, you know, psst, what it does? Okay, good. So, woo-woo, psst. Got it? In and out. All right, so the trains are leaving the station. Move around the room. Go, go, go. Trains are coming in the station. Sometimes trains need to switch. When I say switch, what that means is you're just going to turn where you are and go in the opposite direction. Your engine becomes your caboose becomes your engine. Are you ready? Show me a switch. Perfect. Ready? Trains are leaving the station. Switch! 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 Trains are coming in the station. Sometimes trains have to swap. Now, a swap is different than a switch. Okay? A switch is a change of direction. A swap is a change of position. When I say swap, and it'll be like swap, you're going to get something different when you hear it. When you hear swap, your train keeps going in the same direction, but you need to be in a different part of the train. Different engine, different caboose, different order of cars. Same direction, new position. Make sense? Switch is direction, swap is position. Are you ready? Trains are leaving the station. Switch! Swap! Swap! Switch! Swap! Switch! Trains are coming in the station. Every now and then, the caboose gets on the loose. If you are the caboose and the caboose only, and we don't know who the caboose is because we're switching and swapping the whole time, right? If you are the caboose and the caboose only, and you hear the words, caboose on the loose, you need to break free of your train, put your hands in the air and go, ah!
I could do that.
Until you hook on a different train. So the caboose is going to go to a different train. All right, are you ready? Trains are leaving the station. Switch. Swap. Caboose on the loose! Switch! Swap! Caboose on the loose! And the trains are coming in the station. What are you learning? Life isn't fair. You so wanted to be the caboose and get on the loose. Is that what it is? What are you learning? Following directions. In fact, that's one of my favorite games to teach kids to follow directions with. What are you learning? Somebody said something over here.
Personal space.
Personal space. Being in each other, touching each other in an appropriate way. You know, it is so important that we teach our kids that affection doesn't equal sex. I can show you a million ways I love you and not get you pregnant. I just need you to understand that. And one of the things that we don't talk about anymore is how to show how much we care. And one of the 5 love languages, you guys know the 5 love languages? If you don't, you need to learn them. The first one is words. I love you. You look great today. I'm proud of you. The second one is gifts. I got to go to China, and when I was there, I bought things that said made in China, because you can't get that in the United States. And I brought back these little things, and I gave them to people. Did they care what I brought them? No, they cared that I gave them something that I got 7,000 miles away, and look, I thought of you, and here's this thing, right? This is why relationships struggle. She says, you never tell me you love me. And he's like, but I'm always buying you stuff. And they just don't love. It's not they don't love, it's just speaking 2 different languages. Yeah. Words is one, gifts is another, service is the third one. And we know gift of service people, because when we have a party and everybody else leaves, they're the ones who stick around and say, can I what? Can I give you a hand? Can I help you? Some of you serve others, and that's how you show that you care for them. The fourth one is gift of time. You know the gift of time people, because you say, hey, where do you want to go? They go, I don't care. You say, what do you want to do? They say, I don't care. Because they don't care. They just want to what? Be with you. And the hardest thing for us to give is time, right? 24 hours, once we spend it, gone forever. The choices you make every day, where you spend your time, who you spend your time with, these are the most significant choices you make every single day because they're choices that you only get to make once. That's why you better love what you do for a vocation. You better love what you do for a living because you're going to spend a lot of time there. And time is one of the most valuable things you have to offer because it's limited for all of us. Also, buy a really good mattress. Because a third of your life, you're going to sleep. Be in a bed that you love. Be in one that you're like, oh, this makes me rest so good, and I wake up in the morning refreshed. The last language is the language of touch. But don't touch the kids, because you're all Chester the molester. We all know. You're preverts, and if you keep touching the children, you'll be a pervert. We know this. Okay, the problem with that is some kids, their language is the language of touch. Anybody who works with kids know when you got a kid that's a touch kid and you put a movie on, they're not near you, they're on you. You come in and you're like the public leaning pole. They like are on you and leaning, and some kids, they won't know that you don't love them if you don't touch them. There's a wonderful dude on YouTube. He's a teacher that has 150 different handshakes, and for every child that's in his class, have you seen him? And he's got a memory that is amazing because I could not remember more than like probably 5. But that guy makes a physical contact with every one of those kids every single day that tells the kids what? Because a child who feels loved at home comes to school to learn. But the child who doesn't feel loved at home comes to school to be loved. I'm going to say that again. A guy named Terry Theron said that. Terry is the creator of the Rugrats and the Wild Thornberrys. He's got a star on the Walk of Fame. And in his TEDx talk, and I talk a lot about TEDx and TED. Y'all know TED? About 3 years ago, I thought, you know, I would like to do a TED Talk. And then I looked into how you get to do a TED Talk. Do you know how you get to do a TED Talk? People have to refer you. You can't just say, I would like to do a TED Talk. People have to hear you talk. They have to go to the website. They have to click on the button in the upper right-hand corner. It says, refer a speaker. And then you have to put your information in there. And I thought they would notice that all the referrals came from the same computer. So, for the last 3 years, I've been asking people, if you think I could do a good TED Talk, would you please put my name in the bucket? So last February, I got a letter from Cal State Long Beach, and they're doing a TEDx thing. And they said, would you like to apply? And I said, of course I would. So I put in an application, and I got interviewed by 5 22-year-olds with clipboards. And on October the 27th at Cal State Long Beach, I'm doing my first TEDx talk, okay? And I'm very excited about that. That being said, what I want you to recognize is that we have greatness in us. And we need to show that to the world, and the place that begins is in how we love. And in Terry Theron's TEDx talk, he said, a child who feels loved at home comes to learn. But the kid who doesn't feel loved, it doesn't say he's not loved, it says he what? Like, he doesn't feel like it. Like every junior high school student in the history of man, like every person in this room, you had come to a spot in your life where you thought, I'm not even sure anybody cares about me. Child who feels love comes to learn, and the one who doesn't feel love comes to be loved by you. And if you don't love kids, get another job. You are being paid to build relationships with children through a program. It's not the program doesn't matter, but the program is not the product. The program is the process. It's the journey. The product is children who know that they're cared for. Children who get a chance to try stuff, figure out what they're good at, and turn it into a job they can do legally. All of my report cards said very social, talks a lot in class. Guess what they pay me to do? I talk for a living. I just want that for every child. I want that for you. Find out what you're really good at and turn it into a vocation, and you will never work a day in your life because you will do what it is that you're supposed to be doing in this world. And the money will be a tool. It'll show up when you need it. But it's not what's going to get you out of bed and get you to work and being the best person that you can be when you get there. Guys, that's why this job is not for everyone. It's only for the handful of people who truly love kids and want to make a difference in their future. What else are you learning in a trains game? Follow directions. What else? Teamwork, coordination. What else? Any problem solving going on? I love it. My favorite part is the first time I tell you guys to swap. I tell you switch and you're like, nah, 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 switch, nah, 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 switch. We got that. I say swap and you go, I don't know where to go. And all these beautiful lines turn into this just mishmash that's out there. You were laughing at the camera. You're like, are they going to? And then you got to give it. And if you notice when I called out the directions, I gave switch really fast. But swap, I gave you a lot longer because it took you as a group. Now, some of you had someone really smart who said, look, just put the first person in the front and we'll all be in different places. There's a couple lines that were doing that and they were quick, right? The rest of you are right now going, that's a good idea. I didn't think of that. Because, you know, you're always busy trying to find. Some of y'all never wanted to be the caboose because you were afraid I would say caboose on the loose. Some of y'all were like, I just want to be the caboose. So that you could go, and run around. It's not what we teach, friends. It's how we teach it. Okay? All hands on deck with somebody near you. Find yourself a partner. All hands on deck. If you don't have somebody, come to the middle. If you don't have somebody, come to the middle. All hands on deck. If you don't have somebody, find me. There you go. Excellent. Find me. Find me. Find me. That's all right. Hi. Okay, this is your Incredible Hulk partner. So when I tell you, find your Incredible Hulk partner, this is the person you're going to look for in the room. Once you found them and everybody has found their Incredible Hulk partner, I will count to 3. On the count of 3, you're going to take a step back and you're going to do your Incredible Hulk face. Ah! Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Ah! Excellent. Excellent. Now I would like you to just walk around the room. I want you to have some personal space. I don't want you to run into anybody or anything. Stay within the lines of the chairs. Just walk around the room with the music, okay? When the music starts, so do you. When the music stops, you need to stop also, okay? Let's walk around the room with the music. Are you ready? Come on, music. Start playing.
Hey, yeah, this my homie. We kick it like this. We gon' keep you moving.
Can you move it like this?
I can shake it like that.
Can you move it like this?
I can shake it like that.
Can you move it like this?
I can shake it like that.
Find another partner, a different partner, somebody else, somebody new, somebody new, somebody new.
I have to get somebody.
We need somebody new. We look. Okay, good. Good, I can remember this partner. Okay. I'm 60. Guys, I'm 60. I turned 60 in June. Can you imagine me at 6? I was that kid. I was a kid whose name you learned the first day. You said it 800 times a day. You hoped I had the flu. But I had perfect attendance. I loved school, okay? This one here, this is your Spider-Man partner. What you're going to do with your Spider-Man partner is once you find him, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. You're going to take a step back. You're going to load up your webs, and you're going to dump them all over your friend. Be like, psst, like that. Ready? 1, 2, 3, Spider-Man partner. Good. Now I would like you to walk backwards. I would like you to walk backwards. Please be sure you do not run into anybody or anything. We are walking backwards with the music. Girl, to me, is my favorite thing. You need to find a third partner, a different partner that you didn't have before. Okay, this one, your Wonder Woman partner. Now, the reason I do that is because it took 75 years for us ladies to get a superhero that actually ran a film, right? And then they put out Black Panther, and that took even longer to get some of that out there. And I'm so glad it's here, okay? Now, here's my favorite part. Wonder Woman, her powers come because of her love for mankind. And she has a very powerful power, and that's when she takes her 2 bracelets and she clicks them together, right? It's called a bush, right? So she goes, bush, like that, right? So on the count of 3, you're going to take a step back. You're going to cross your braces. You're going to go, bush, at your friend. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, bush. Yeah. That's your Wonder Woman partner. Now I would like you to move around the room on 1 foot. I would like you to move around. You can switch. If your 1 foot gets tired, you can switch to the other foot, okay? Say, on 1 foot. Here we go. Move around. And the captain's coming. Find your Spider-Man partner. Find your Spider-Man partner. You're like, Spider-Man partner. We got to know who your partner is. Spider-Man partner. Spider-Man partner. What? We got someone. She's like, where's my partner? There we go. Spider-Man partner. On the count of 3, dump your webs. 1, 2, 3. All right. Good. Now I would like you to walk like a bear. Now let me explain. Because bears have a very unique walk. Most critters walk in opposition. Opposite leg, opposite foot. Bears do not. Bears move one side of their body at a time. That's why when a bear walks, he looks like this, because he's rolling from side to side. Now, when you walk like a bear, you can do it all 4. Some of the children will. I can't, because I have like 60-year-old knees, okay? One of them is actually titanium, right? And so when I go through I have to go through this machine at the airport. Otherwise, I set off all the alarms. Yeah. So when I walk like a bear, I kind of roll my shoulders, but periodically I go rah at people, because that's what bears do. Okay, are you ready? So I need you to walk like a bear. Walk like a bear, round and round. And the captain's coming. Find your Wonder Woman partner. 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 And on the count of 3, wait, she's still looking. Go to your left. There she is. On the count of 3, step back and do your boosh. 1, 2, 3. Boosh. Very nice. Do you understand this game?
Yes.
So now what we've done is we've taken the captain is coming, we've taken the all hands on deck, and we changed one of 3 things. You do not need 900 activities. You need 30 or 40 really good ones that come about every month and a half. Children do not mind repetition. In fact, if you don't want to repeat yourself, don't work with children. If you don't want to repeat yourself, don't work with children. If you don't want to have to say it again and again and again, don't work with humans. The average number of times you got to say it, touch it, and eat it if you're a human is 8. They don't mind repetition, but repetition to extinction is stupid. When you go and you do it again and again, so much so the kids are like, oh man, do we have to do this again? You just killed it. It's extinct. So you play it and you end it before they're done with it. They'll be like, oh, but we don't know. You're like, yeah, Nike's not paying you $2 million to play the game today. And by the way, if you pay attention, it might show up again. And you let it sit away for about 3-4 weeks, and then it shows up again, and the kids are like, oh, yeah, man, I love this game. And then you change one of 3 things. I'm going to start a cheer. I'm going to chant, okay? Once you got it, join in. So let me get started. Once you got it, you're going to join in with me. You guys ready? RES means change. Rules, equipment, and space. 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 On your own now.
RES means change. Rules, equipment, and space.
Right on.
RES means change.
You got it.
Rules, equipment, and space.
There are 3 things that you can change. There are 3 things you can change to any activity and make it new. Want to know what the 3 things are? You can change the rules, you can change the equipment, you can change the space. I don't play soccer with 1 ball and 2 goals. If I play with 1 ball and 2 goals, the 3 best kids play with the ball, and all the rest of the kids do what?
Run around.
And get in trouble. But so I play soccer with goals on all 4 sides, and I widen them, and I put in 2 goalies in each goal, and I throw out 8 soccer balls. And the goal is for you to score as many goals as you can. And whether you like it or not, the ball is going to come to you. You might have to kick it. And then if I got kindergartners playing with 5th graders, and if that happens, the 5th graders steal the balls and the kindergartners never get to touch them, right? So I got to change the rule. So now the rule is if you score it on your own, it's only worth 1 point. But if you're a 5th grader and you can help a kindergartner or a 1st grader score, now you get 2 points. And I got 5th graders blocking for the 1st grader so that the 1st grader can kick the ball through so they can make 2 points. Rules, equipment, space. How can you take the games you play, change one of those 3 things, and teach them something else within that same thing that they already know how to do? That make sense to you? Excellent. I want to take about a 6 or 7 minute break, just because I've been banging on your heads now for over an hour and a half. Okay, actually, an hour and 45 minutes. Almost. I'm going to give you some resources on actual behavior management and things that kids do that you're going to need to have a resource for. And so I'm going to give you 2 resources and then 1 web-based one which has amazing articles on it that will help you do better with that piece of it. So that if you have a specific behavior, I have a kid that is a temper tantrum kid, you know, or I have a kid who da-da-da-da-da. I don't have time today to get into the specifics of that, but I will give you resources that you can revisit. Also, one of the opportunities you're going to have is I'm going to be coming to your sites and playing with you and your kids. So that when you're like, because see, a lot of people that do what I do, they just want to work with the adults. They don't want to go play with the children. Well, I love the children. And I want you to realize your kids have so much potential. And again, if you can see your own kids do things that you never thought they could, it's going to open your eyes to the fact that you can do amazing things with your kids. All right? And then the other thing, too, that affords me is that gives me a chance to see you be brilliant. And I would love to come and see how great you guys are with your kids and support you in the things that you're doing. Okay? So, let me talk to you really quickly. Here's my TED Talk, because you may not want to spend the $50 to go to Long Beach. And I want to do this for you because this is where I want to start. I want to start with the fact that my goal in life is to change the way we educate. Because I think that some of the systems that are in place aren't there to help our kids. I think a lot of our systems in education are in place to keep our adults comfortable. And sometimes what makes an adult comfortable isn't what's best for kids. And so one of the things you need to figure out to find your purpose in your life is how do you want to change the world? And I think I finally figured mine out. So this is kind of a truncated, weird view of what I'm going to do at my TED Talk. All right? Here's the thing. I cannot change how you feel because feelings come 80,000 times faster than thoughts. 80,000 times faster. Your feelings come like that. And then somebody says, why you feel that way? And you say, I don't know. Because guess what? You don't know yet. Your thoughts haven't caught up with the feelings. And the problem with that is, if you study psychology or psychiatry, they always start with, if you change how someone thinks, that changes how they feel, and that changes what they do. How hard is it to change how a child thinks? Isn't it almost impossible? And see, what I've discovered in the last almost 40 years of teaching is that you don't have to go this direction. If I change what the child does, that changes how he feels, and that will change how he thinks. And so even though I can't do anything about this, I can do something about what you're thinking and what you're doing. So you need to approach it from both places. Some of you guys that have worked with kids for a while, you know this conversation. Just do this. But I don't say, no, just trust me. Just go do this. Just do it this way. Just do it. And then they do it, and after they do it, you say, now, do you know why I ask you to do? And they're like, yeah, because the thing with and they learn by doing, okay? And so in education, we have this tremendous focus on what are we going to teach? Content, standards, and core, and all, what. And to focus on the what, the problem with that is, if the what doesn't get used, if the knowledge doesn't turn into action, How many times you taken a test, studied for the test, taken the test, passed the test, 6 months later you see what was on the test and you think, I used to know that. But you don't know it anymore because the only reason you studied it was what? To pass the test. If it doesn't translate into your life, if you don't get a chance to use it, if you don't understand the processes and the procedures, if you don't understand the how, the learning doesn't last. And the other piece that's missing oftentimes is the purpose behind the learning. The why are we doing this in the first place? Education has a how, a what, and a why. It has 3 things. What are we going to teach you? What's that content? How are you going to use it? And why is it important? Okay? And in the knick-knack paddywhack land, when you go into first grade kindergarten, they start with the how. They give the kids something to do. And while the kids are laboring, trying to figure out how this is going to get done, they learn the what. And they learn the content so that now we have to do this. This is what we need to know to do this. And after it's over, then you have this conversation. Now, do you know why we did it this way? And a discovered why. A discovered why is so much better than one that's been given to you. Remember the last time you figured out something for yourself? Remember when you were thinking, I don't understand this, it doesn't make any sense to me, and then all of a sudden, the little light went on in your head, and you went, oh man, I got this. And the first thing you did was go find somebody and say, guess what I just learned? Look what I can do. All of a sudden, see, that discovered why is the most powerful thing. Somewhere in upper elementary, middle school, high school, they said they're not going to learn if they don't know why. And they reversed this process. And that's why all the way through high school and college, they spend all their time telling you why, telling you what, and then they run out of time and they never teach you how. And I'm a firm believer we start with the how and we let them discover the why. And the reason I do that is because on the day that you were conceived, when the egg and the sperm got together and the happy happened and there you were growing in the womb, on that day there were 3 germination layers, 3 layers that became into who you became as a human. The first layer did your brain and spinal cord. Layer number 1 does the cognitive thinking part of who you are. It does the what. It gives you content. The second layer does the muscles and the skeletal system. And the heart is a what? Muscle. The heart is in the second layer. The first way we know there's a baby in the womb is we hear a what? Heartbeat. It sends signals to this one, but it has its own. More than 70% of the heart is neurological. More than 70% of the heart's tissues. There's a book called The Heart's Code, and the next slide after this one will have that book. You read it, it will change your life. Pearzall has interviewed 150 people that have had heart transplants, and all of them have memories of the person that had the heart before they did. I met a kid a few years back named Xavier. He was working for the Phoenix Park and Recreation Department. He was 28 years old when I met him, and he came up to me halfway through a 2-day training and said, Dr. G, now I know whose memories I see. I go, Xavier, you got to explain to me. What are you talking about? He said, when I was 14, I was in a gang, and they stabbed me in the heart, and they gave me a heart of a kid from New Mexico that died in a car accident. And I love New Mexico, and I know things about New Mexico, and I have never been to New Mexico. I met a guy named Richard. I was swimming with my 90-year-old mother. My mother was born in Berlin in 1928. She was there during the Kristallnacht when they bombed the Jewish stores, and as a 10-year-old, she dug people out of the rubble after the bombings. My mother's a World War II survivor. She's a tough broad, okay? My father passed away about 2 years ago. My mother and father were together for 62 years, okay? So one thing my mother wants now I can't give her, and that's to have my dad back, right? So I'm at a retirement community my mom was living in, and this guy named Richard, he swam over to us, and he had this gnarly scar down the front of his chest. And I said to Richard, I said, hey, Richard, did you have some kind of heart thing? He goes, yeah, 22 years ago I got a transplant. I go, dude, did weird things happen in your life? He goes, totally. He goes, I built my wife the most beautiful gardening bench, and I suck at carpentry. He goes, and for the last 22 years, I've had this incredible urge to ride motorcycles, but I will not because the heart I have came from a guy who died in a motorcycle accident. If you are a person of faith in this room, as the man thinks in his heart, so is he. You have at least 2 brains so far. You got this cognitive thinking one, and then you got this emotional spiritual one. Hasn't this brain told you one thing, and this one told you something else? And what happens when you get the 2 of them going in the same direction? And the third layer does everything in your core. It does everything in the core of your body. Now, I know some of y'all are into fitness in this room. How important is core? Isn't it the thing? Do you know 60% of the body's cells are engaged in feeding the rest of the body? More than half the body cells are in the digestive system alone. You have a lot of neurons right here in your abdomen, a lot of neurons. In fact, this is a very base brain kind of brain. This is a very physical kind of brain. This is that gut feeling that when you step into a situation and you know it's not right, and you listen to it, and you take a step back, it kept you safe. From the time you are conceived, you don't have 1 brain, you have 3. You have a cognitive thinking, an emotional, spiritual, and a physical brain. And if you're going to teach, you got to teach all 3 brains. There's a what, there's a how, and there's a why. And it gets better than that. This is the book by Pearsall. If you want to read the book, called The Heart's Code. Guy's name is Pearsall, like the fruit. Okay? This puts out 5,000 times the energy that this does. This energy that my heart creates, this electromagnetic field that I create, can be felt within 3 feet and out as far as 15 feet from me. That's why my mere presence can make you uncomfortable. And aren't there some people you just want to be around, and then there's other people you like, walk away, man, don't go hang out with that one. Because you are a creator of energy. Every beat of your heart, you are sending out energy into, and what we know about physics and energy is once it's been created, it can never be what? Destroyed. It can never be destroyed. It'll change form. Right? Okay. I'm going to add one more layer to it because I want you to understand what it is that you're trying to do. You're trying to teach children. And they need a how, a what, and a why. And it also is tied to motivation. Daniel Pink wrote a book called Drive, and his book is all about what motivates humans, and he does all the research on motivation. And the only reason I read it was because a couple summers ago I was teaching teachers to teach. One of my student teachers came up to me and said, Dr. G, have you ever read the book? And I said no. And the next time we had class, she gave me the book, which tells me as a teacher to what? A good teacher is teachable. Good teachers learn as much from their students as they teach them. And you got to be, if you're not teachable, you're not reachable. And you have to have both. And so I read that book, and I'm so glad she gave it to me because it changed everything about my attitude about motivation. Because this is what Daniel Pink says in his book about motivation. Number 1, motivation is biology. That's why pizza parties work always. You know what motivates us? When we're hungry, we eat. When we're tired, we. When we're thirsty, we. And when we have affection for others, biology. This is what drives us. And it's a number 1 motivation is biology. That's why if you can turn any of the lessons you're doing into something that teaches them about their biological selves, they are going to be all over that. 2, extrinsic motivation. The concept of rewards and punishments. And what data tells us is these systems fail eventually. There is a diminishing effect. When you have a system that is based on extrinsic rewards and punishments, the rewards have to get greater, the punishments more severe, and eventually they just don't work anymore. And the worst thing you can do is tie the 2 systems together. If you do a behavior management system where kids earn points, but then you take those same points away, the points don't matter. The kid who earns, earns. The kid who earns and loses and earns and loses and earns and loses finally says, screw this, man, this thing doesn't work. If I can walk into your program and I know which kids are having a bad day because of the behavior management system you have in your room, it's not about changing that kid's behavior, it's about documenting it. That's why turning cards, kid doesn't raise his hand in class, go turn your card. How does turning his card teach him to raise his hand? You know what teaches a kid to raise his hand? When the kid calls out, and say you're the one who calls out, and I walk over to you and I look at you, and I go like this. And you do what? Then I say it again, because it was the right answer, but you didn't raise your hand, and you need to raise your hand before you say it. And if I do that with that kid, eventually it looks like this. He's still calling out, but at least the hand is going in the air. And pretty soon he gets the timing where the hand goes up and then he speaks. And then eventually he even waits for me to call on him before his mouth opens. But the truth is, if you call out and I go turn your card, half the time the kids that are calling out have the right answer. And since you got to hear it 8 times anyway, I'm just saying, if I know who's having a bad day because of your system, that system isn't there to change that child. That system is there to punish them. And they don't work. You know what works is intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic. And the thing about intrinsic motivation, the thing that scares us is because it's inside. And I can't change what's inside of you. And as teachers, that bugs the snot out of us because we really want to be able to control things. And sometimes we can't. And intrinsic motivation is inside. What I love about Daniel Pink's book is that he finally gave me a definition of intrinsic motivation that I know as an educator. I may not be able to motivate you intrinsically, but I can create an environment where you will want to motivate yourself. I have control over the environment that you respond in. And if I can create an environment that has these 3 things, 1, you have to have choice and control. You have to be able to make a decision. Because the minute I let you make a choice, where does that move the motivation? Inside. If it's your choice and you got control, who's responsible for it now? Secondly, you have to walk away with the ability to do something new, to create or learn, to look and say, look what I can do, or look what I did. You got skills. Now, who do those skills belong to? You. And in the last part, you need to know the benefit. You need to understand why. Why are you learning this in the first place? You see, if you look at motivation, this is the how, choice and control. This is the what, because you're creating and learning. And this is the why. There is a how, a what, and a why. So St. Francis of Assisi said it this way. He said, a man who works with his hands is a laborer, but the man who works with his hands and his head, he's a craftsman. But the one who can work with his hands, his head, and his heart is an artist. And you need to become the artist of your own life. You need to take all 3 of your brains, put them all in a place of learning, and give yourself the very best shot that you can. And when you work with children, you need to give them a how, a what, and a why. And you need to engage auditory, visual, kinesthetic. And you need to make sure that they are using all 3 brains, the cognitive, the emotional, and the physical. So, let's look at you. I'll come back to this because it's in the wrong order. And if I run out of time, we'll go back to that. I want to get to this. I'm close. Because, see, I just saw the one I'm looking for. You already did some of this anyway. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. We're going to start with a couple of assessments. Pull out your handouts because I want you to learn some things about yourself. And by the way, all of you are very interested in yourselves. It's one of your favorite subjects. Okay, so in your handouts, and you can pull them apart because you might need them unless you like to fold them over. Find the one that says sensory preference. Okay, it has 3 columns on the front of it, and it says sensory preference. Got that? When you do this assessment, now you're going to do part of it when we have time. If we don't get done with it, don't worry about it. You can finish it when you go home. This one right here will tell you whether you're auditory, visual, or kinesthetic. It's going to tell you how you learn. You think about yourself 75 to 85% of the time. When you read the statement, if it's true for you, check the box. Total up the box on the bottom, flip it over, and it will explain to you what it means. Okay? So this one's an easy one. Then I want you to look at the... Did you find it? No, we don't have to do it yet. I'll give you pencils. Yeah. Okay? Just, if you don't have a pencil, I'll give you one. I want to give you mine because I brought them for a reason. But I'll do that in a second. Okay? The other one, it says multiple intelligences. Okay? Howard Gardner. Here's the truth. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being dumb as dirt and 10 being brilliant, how smart do you think you are? Okay, I want you to score yourselves and I want you to hold your hands up. Okay, 1 is dumb as dirt, 10 is brilliant. On a scale of 1 to 10, how smart do you think you are? Put that number on your hands, hold it up so I can see. Put on your hands, hold up so I can see how smart. Everybody look around the room. Look around the room and let's see what people are holding up. Okay? All right, now, good, excellent. Put your hands down. That is the worst way to measure intelligence. That is the worst way to measure, because here's the problem with measuring it that way. We began to compare ourselves with others. And the thing about intelligence is no two people are intelligent in the same way. They might have some commonalities, but you've got strengths in places that others have weaknesses, and that's the way it works. And we have this idea that intelligence looks a certain way. What's interesting is the younger the kids are, the higher they score themselves. If I ask a room full of first graders how smart are they all say 10. I'm 10. He's 10. We're all 10. They all are 10 because nobody told them that they weren't. Most of you, when I ask you to do this, the reason it was hard is because that little voice, because we're all a little schizophrenic. You know, we all have voices in our heads. Right now your voice is saying, I don't got no voice in my... Yes! You have a voice in your head and it says things to you like, I want to say 10. But I'm sitting with people that know me, and I'm afraid if I go 10, they're going to go, no. Maybe 8. Or you had this conversation in your head, well, I'm at least a 5. And then you were trying to figure out what, 6, 7, or 8. You're like roulette on this hand. 6, 7, or... And if you looked around the room, the majority of you said you were a 6, a 7, or an 8. And you all sold yourselves short. The only room I've ever been in with a room full of adults where I said on a scale of 1 to 10, how smart are you, was I was doing a training for Rockwell International. And Rockwell International is a company that makes things that make things. It was a room of 90 engineers. Only 20 women, because we're still telling our little girls they can't do math and science the way the boys can, which is not true. They do it very differently sometimes, and the difference sometimes makes all the difference in the world. So, 90 engineers, scale of 1 to 10, how smart are you? Every one of them kind of leaned back in their chair and went, because their whole lives they've been told what? See, what I love about Howard Gardner's theory is he said you're not smart in one way. You're smart in at least 7. If you look at his new stuff, he's got 8 and 9 because I think he wanted to sell more books, but that doesn't matter. These 7 been around for about 40-some years, and I love these 7. And part of the reason he gets dinged is because it's hard to prove this with people, because it's hard to measure this. It's hard to quantify intelligence, right? And so his theory's been around for a long time. And when the other thing I love about it, he said everybody's smart. If you want them all, you can have them all. That's what he said. Here, first one's math and logic. Some of you guys do Sudoku for fun, right? Right? Anybody do Sudoku? Yeah? I have some puzzles that are not 1 through 9. They're 1 through 25. They're 5 by 5 by 5 by 5 grids. Takes a couple of days, right? You look at her, she's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. You almost want to see one, right? Rest of these guys are going, why? God, why would you spend all that time doing that? That's just, because they're not logical, mathematical. I bought myself a Nintendo Switch for my 59th birthday. I do have all 120 shrines in Zelda Breath of the Wild. My game of choice is Skyrim, and have begun to play it online for those of you that... So, and I love the whole mathematical, logical thing about video games. By the way, anybody a league player? Anybody LOL? Anybody? Yeah? Do you mid, bot, 80 carry, top? What do you do? You're top? Yeah? Yeah? What's your favorite character? What's your favorite... Oh, yeah? What's his ultimate? Her ultimate. Come on.
Play the Exiles of Buff, first generation.
Right. Right. Nice. Y'all are like, what the heck are they talking about? I don't even know what that language is. The reason I play well with children is because I get video games. Yeah, and not everybody, did you see my gaming computer? Did you notice it was a gaming computer? When you go to my desktop, my Steam account shows up, if that tells you anything, okay? I'm 60. Y'all are younger, and you need to know about what's in the world and what's influencing kids and why it matters, okay? But I have some of that mathematical, logical thing, because you can't play video games without being somewhat mathematically and logically. And if you don't have that, you need to play them so that you can get that, all right? Verbal linguistic. I encourage everyone to learn a second language. Everybody needs at least 2. You can learn more than that if you want, but you need at least 2 because brains that are bilingual use parts of the brain that don't get used otherwise. My second language is German. Wenn kleine Kind spielt, sind sie gesund, aber wenn großen Kind spielt, dann muss sie verheiraten. I like it because every other word you can clear your throat. Do you know how Germans tell each other they love each other? Ich liebe dich. It's like, I love you. Now, the reason German is my second language is because my father was in the Air Force, and from the time I was 6 until the time I was 10, my parents were stationed in Germany. And I lived in Bitburg, Germany, and my parents' idea of vacation, and my parents were enlisted, they didn't have a lot of money, but from the time I was 6 until the time I was 10, my parents took us all over Europe. I saw the changing of the guards at Buckingham Palace. I went to the top of the Eiffel Tower. I saw a bullfight in Madrid. I learned to ski on the Swiss Alps. And I stood on the Berlin Wall and watched families wave handkerchiefs across the landmines before they tore that all down in the 80s. You wonder why I am so interested in the world and love to travel and love to be and see and celebrate. I want to eat your food, dance your dances, sing your songs, play your games, because I think humans are the most incredible thing on this earth. And I would love for all of us to be able to respect and acknowledge and celebrate each other. And learning a second language, being open to the linguistics of the world and opening yourself up to another culture through that, one of the most powerful things you can do for yourselves. Some of you have verbal linguistic intelligence. We come to you because we don't know how to put things in words, and you take our feelings and put them into words. And you write poetry, and you can rap, and you know how to use words. Some of you, it's your body. You're kinesthetically intelligent. You can dance and you do sports, and with things we trip over, you find center of gravity and never fall down. We just like watching you walk around. We're like, look at that. That is amazing. Some of you have that physical intelligence. All of you have musical intelligence. All of you. That's why movies have soundtracks. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Are you all... hope I can't find your friend, right? All of a sudden, every character in Star Wars has their own theme. You know who really gets it? Scary movies. Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, dum, bum, dun, dun, dum, bum, dun, 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 bum, 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 bum. You're like, get out of the water! There's shark is! We need a bigger boat! You watch Jaws, turn down the volume, you'll be like, that shark doesn't even look real. You know what scares us in scary movies? The music. How many of you use music to make yourself feel better? How many of you, when you got to get stuff done, you put in something that really, gets you? When you got to relax, you put in something that helps you just, chillax, right? Yeah. How many of you call up your friends and say, oh, you got to hear this song, man. The words in this song are so true. If you're doing that, you're musically intelligent. Music moves you. This is why virtually every culture in the world uses music to communicate its culture. That's why I told you, sing the songs, dance the dances. You want to learn about a culture? Listen to its music. Listen to its music, and it will teach you what you need to know about what's important, how they interact, how they move, the rhythm of it. My favorite out of all the 7 that he talks about is visual spatial intelligence, because it shows up in so many different ways. Yes, it's the artist, and yes, it's the one who can sculpt and the one who can design, feng shui your house and put designer things, and they go to Pier 1 and buy $25 worth of crap, put it on the wall, and it's art. It's still $25 of crap in a bag when I buy it. I can't make things look, and they grab and oh, look, how pretty. I can't do that. Some people can, right? And then, yes, it's that. But it's also, some of you guys are good at organizing. Some of you can take the vomit closet. You know the one that when they open it, it throws up on the floor? Some of y'all have a vomit closet. You try to shove it in quick and shut the door before it comes back out. You know what I'm talking about, right? Right? And then there's people in this world that can go in that closet. They can organize it, label it. It looks lovely, and you can find stuff, right? That's also visual spatial. I see 3 guys struggling trying to get this couch through the front door, and I walk up and I say, you guys know if you just turn it this way, it'll fit right. You know, it's like, so people have Tetris playing in their head, right? You buy that thing at the store and you come home and it's not what you want. It's got 9 pieces of styrofoam, and then you realize it's not what you want. You can't put it back in the box because it's got all these pieces, and someone in your house has Tetris playing in their head, and they grab a thing and they put all the pieces together, put it in the box and hand it back to you, and you're like, how do you do that? Because they have visual spatial intelligence. They know how to manipulate space, and they can see things and turn things and see how things fit. The last 2, intrapersonal, how well do you know yourself, and interpersonal, how well can you play with others. These are absolutely essential. Now, the 7 intelligence one says, how are you intelligent? And that's the way this one works. It's the very last page in your packet. And the reason I know that is because I can see the chart on the very last page in your packet, okay? Here's the thing. You're going to answer true if it's you. You're going to answer false if it's not. But sometimes is and sometimes isn't. Leave it blank. Okay? If it's you, it's true. If it's not, it's false. But if it sometimes is and sometimes isn't, you're not sure, just leave it blank. Then turn it over. Turn it over to the very back of your packet. You're going to circle the answers that you said true to. You see in the middle it says A, B, C, D, and under A it says 9, 10, 17, 22, and 30. Okay? If you answered any of those questions true, you're going to circle the answers that were true. So the total number you're going to get for any letter, A through G, is going to be 5. That's the only because how many circles are there? Okay? And that's how many you would have. Now, take your pen or pencil. Who needs a pen or pencil? Somebody said they needed them. Okay, I'm gonna do the wheel for you, and I'm gonna come around that. Give me a second. Let me get my pencils out because I want to give you all some pencils. So these are my pencils I'm gonna give you. If you don't have one, and I'll put them out here. Let me tell you why I give you these pencils. Because look, gravity. Did you see that? Hang on. You can help. That's fine. That's all right. Because I'm not gonna pick them up because I don't care. You do. Okay, so I told you there are certain things I care about. That's not one of them. Hey, do you see these pencils? Look at this pencil. Do you know how they work? How do these pencils work? You see this pencil? Look, everybody's going like this. See? But do you see these pencils? Do you know how they work?
Yeah.
How these pencils work? Take one off and now see here. This pencil is resilient. This is a resilient pencil. You know why? Because when stuff wears you down, you got to get it out the way, put it in the past, give yourself a little shove from behind and start over. That's a resilient pencil, right? And you know what I love about it? Also, somebody said to me, yeah, but if you lose the piece, it doesn't work. Okay, here's the deal. Whatever it was that wore you down, whatever that lesson was that taught you about life, that you've moved out of the way and put in the past, don't forget the lesson. You don't have to keep reliving it. You already learned it. You want a different future. Tell yourself a different story. But don't lose the lessons. Keep them in the past and let them keep pushing you forward, like this pencil. That's why I give them to you. So if you need a pencil, and even if you don't need one and you just want one, you can have a pencil. Okay? Does anybody need a yellow one? Does anybody yellow their favorite color? Right here? Okay, good. Excellent. You can have this one. All right. Now look at what y'all are doing. Look what y'all are doing. You guys are so interested in yourselves, you have quit paying attention to me. Okay? I just want you to know. So look up, because I need to tell you how to score this one. Go to the back page. Turn it over. On the very back of your packet. Looks like this. It has this grid right here. I want you to be looking at this, because after you score A, B, C, D, and you know what your numbers are going to be, which one's which? I'm going to tell you right now, okay? So look at your little circle up here. In the left hand, the first one off to the left at about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, says verbal linguistic. Do you see that? Over that box, put the letter A. If you move clockwise, what's the next one? Mathematical is B. Now don't get rushing, because you're like, oh good, they're in order, because they do change at the end. Okay? The next one is visual spatial, is that correct? Yes. C. Then comes body, D. Then comes music, E. Then the last two switch. G is in ter, and F is intra. Okay? So when you score it, you can do that. Now I need you to stop what you're doing with those two. The sensory and the multiple intelligence, if you finish the other, you can go back and work on those. If you don't get them done today, you can do them at home tonight. You will have enough information about all of those things. If you want to know more about Howard Gardner, just go to his website. By the way, he's still alive. I actually had a couple of students do a paper on him. They emailed him, and he emailed them back. He answered their questions, which is like the craziest thing. You know, I've read a lot of books, and I've never thought to myself, hey, I'm going to give the author a call. And you can do that now, because the internet will do that for you. By the way, I have a couple pencils that have been decapitated. I don't know where the bag is. Can we put them in there just in case someone needs a eraser? Okay. All right. So the one I want you to take out right now says True Colors. And what it looks like is it is... yes, this is the perfect one. Thank you. It says True Colors Personality, and it's got like 5 boxes with words. Okay, and then there's the descriptions of the colors. Don't worry about the descriptions. I just want you to get to this page. It looks like this. All right, hold it up so I can make sure you're on the right place. Okay, because this is the one we're going to do right now. Excellent, perfect, well done. Okay, good. So here's how this works. The first box, box number 1, you see a series of words that have a letter, A, B, C, and D. Do you see that? And then there's 3 words in each list. For each box, and there's 5 boxes, numbered 1 through 5, you're gonna grade those lists. The list that is most like you gets the 4. The list that is least like you gets the 1. So for each box, you're going to rank them 4, 3, 2, and 1. So for instance, if Dr. Gale was doing box number 1, letter A, active, opportunistic, and spontaneous, that is totally me, that's my 4. My 3 is letter D, versatile, inventive, and competent. My 2 is authentic, harmonious, and compassionate, and the list in that set of 4 that is least like me is parental, traditional, and responsible. I am totally not any of that. So that's my number 1. So if you were to look at mine when I did it, it would go 4, 1, 2, 3. Yours might be different based on the words. So for each box, rank 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, when you're done with that, hang on, look how good you guys are. You already started. One more thing. There's a 6th box. Do you see the 6th box? And you see 4 colors. Next to orange, you see A, H, N, K, and S. So what you do is after you've gone through and you've scored the letters, go back and look at what number you put for that letter, write it above the letter in that box, and then you'll know what your orange score is. So whatever you put at A, H, N, K, and S is your orange score. If you're orange, I want you to come stand right here. If you're blue, I want you to come stand right here. If you're green, I want you right here. And if you're gold, I want you right here. Okay? Orange, blue, green, and then gold. If you have more than 1 color, come see me. You need to come see me as well. That's all right, because you're scored high. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about this. Can I call you back in a second? Because yours is a unique thing. There's another, she's also very close to what you have. Okay? These guys actually had a tie for their color, which means that they pretty much will flip-flop between either. It just depends on the day, depends on the group, so you probably are both of those things, and you'll move through it. Now, here's the thing. Whenever I do trainings about people, personality and temperament, they always say to me things like, well, which is more important, nature versus nurture? And if you've done any psychology classes, they've had this argument through the centuries. Is it more biology, or is it more the way you were raised? Is it nature versus nurture? Personality has a lot to do with nurture. It has a lot to do with the way you were raised, your birth order, the things that are interesting to you, the abilities that you have. It has a lot of that, and opportunities then to use those abilities. After this, we're going to do temperament. Temperament has a lot to do with biology. It has a lot to do with the nature of who you are. And you'll see the differences. Personality can change. You might have one personality you hang out with your friends, another one with your family, a third one you do at work. And you might put the different masks and the different hats on depending on where you're at. These guys that have a tie, you need to look at the 2 colors you scored, see which one you're most like today, and go join that group.
46.
So they're just in front of the one you just did. So you just filled out that list. And in front of that are the descriptions. Right here. Right in front of your list. There's 2 on one and 2 on the other. Okay, so there's gold and blue and orange and green. Okay, so now you guys need to look at the descriptions for your color. For your color. We'll look at everybody else's in a second, but you need to look at the descriptions for your color. And I want you as a group, to decide what of those 3 words in the very first paragraph. I don't want you to go deeper than that first paragraph. And I just want 3 words. They don't have to be bold. They can just be in that first paragraph. What 3 words best describes you as a group? So as a group, pick the 3 words that best describe you. All right. All right, now here we go. If you've got, once you figured out your words, send me 1 person from your group that will tell me the 3 words you picked. Send 1 person from your group, tell me the 3 words that you picked. Quick, quick, quick. Send them out to me so I know. Send them out to me so I know. Send out your person. Excellent. We need a blue. We need blue. Okay, now I want you to see something that's funny. Here's what just happened. Even as a group, you guys did this activity differently because of your personality types. Okay? When I said do this, this group automatically came together, formed a leader, and took a vote. This group over here, y'all figured out which one you thought was yours, and then said, well, these are my 3.
We kind of did it without knowing.
Without knowing. Yeah, very independent. In fact, you didn't even form a circle. You all stood in a line. Okay. This group over here, the blue group, formed a perfect circle, and they all got together, and they said, now, which one do you like? And made sure every person got a chance to share and be welcome, because we are the world. The oranges never really formed a group. Y'all are in kind of a modge podge, and you just started calling words out and made each other laugh. And then when I look even how he decorated himself. He's got little earring things happening here. Okay? Because that's very orange. So orange, what are the 3 words you use to describe yourselves?
Willing, spontaneous, and optimistic.
Willing, spontaneous, and optimistic. Nice. Very good. Green, what did you say?
Calm, logical, problem solving.
Right. Gold, what did you guys say?
We said punctual, organized, and loyal.
Yeah. See, what the gold does is they keep us on budget, within schedule, and they remember our traditions. This is the way we've always done it. But they'll clash with the greens, because the greens will say things like, I know we've always done it that way, but isn't there a better way to do this? Okay? And you'll have that. You notice in public school, there's not a lot of green. Because green have a tendency to rock the ship a little bit, and they ask a lot of questions about why are we doing that, and is there good? And the thing is, they're the best ones to have you research something. Because when they research it, these guys will give you, if I tell you something is the way it is, you'll be like, I'm going to go look that up. And then you go look it up, and then you find about 6 or 7 different references, okay? You're not going to get one. You're going to get a whole boatload from them. And not only will they give you good ideas, they'll show you why it matters, okay? And the blues will be like, can't you all just get along? Okay? What are the blues? How do you describe yourselves?
Sympathetic, compassionate, and flexible.
You hear it? You hear it? Now, what I love about True Colors, and I love about this, now normally what I do is I have you talk about yourselves, and then I have you go circle, and then counterclockwise and clockwise, and then go across, so that you also describe others. I love this description, because look how it looks at you. In childhood, and then what? Relationships, and then where? Work. Which is where y'all are right now, right? My favorite one is the very last one.
It's a bad day.
If all I can do is get you to say, okay, look, she's an orange and she's having a bad day, okay? If that's all this does for you, that will help. That will help with how you get along with others, okay? This has been one of my, and I've used a lot of personality tests through the years. This by far has been one of the most accurate, simplest ones I can use. But I also know that there are people in this room, like this gentleman here, who his orange is a 13 and all the others are 12s. Wow. Which means, now only once, well, 3 times, in all the times I've done this, there's usually one person, and it's very, very rare, they'll come up and they'll get all 4 colors from me because they're completely tied across the board. I get several 3s, I get a lot of 2s, okay? And his is kind of unique because within 1 point, he would have had 4 ties. And so I gave him the one that was highest, but rightfully he probably could wear all of the colors. Those of you that have more than 1 or 3, there was another lady, where is my friend? Yeah, there she is. Yeah, she's also within 1 point of all of hers. And they're like tied, like 11s and 13s or something. They're right there, okay? You guys are the ultimate chameleon in the crayon box. Now, we all have to be the chameleon in the crayon box with kids, okay? And it would be nice if it was the box of 8, but it's not. It's the box of 124 with the sharpener on the back and 6 shades of red. That's how many colors you have to be when you're around kids. Because they're diverse. Friends, diversity comes because of race. And if you don't think we have a problem with race in this country, you're part of the problem, okay? I just need you to know that. But it also is because of religion and gender and body type and size and personality and temperament and multiple intelligences and sensory preferences. You get 23 chromosomes from your father, 23 chromosomes from your mother, and the same 46 chromosomes come to you and your siblings that are from the same parents. And if you got biological siblings that are from the exact same parents, mom and dad, raise your hand. How many of you are identical to your siblings? None. You're all from the same gene pool. They might be from the shallow end of the pool, but you're all from the same gene pool. And I'm going to tell you, even with identical twins that start in the same egg and then separate, they're not identical either. The hardest thing about being human is we are exceedingly diverse. Even within a culture. I have many, many friends that are black or African American, depends on where they identify. And they tell me, Gale, you got CPT, girl. You got to fix that. Now, y'all know what that means. And there's other cultures that don't. But I know that you know what that means. Okay? What does what mean? CPT. Yeah, because I show up whenever I feel like it. And that's not always a good thing, is it? I have a problem with time. I have a problem with time. Okay? And I get that. The problem is, I can't say all of my friends that fall in, they're all the same. They're not. I have Hispanic friends, I have wonderful Hispanic friends, and I know when they say the party's at 3:30, don't show up at 3:30. Because if you show up at 3:30, they're like, did you come to help? Because the party really isn't going to start for another half hour, 45 minutes, because that's how they, but my Asian friends, when they say dinner is at 7, you need to be there by 1:45, because otherwise 7 o'clock you're late. Because culturally, there's some of those things there. But are all of them the same? No, within that there's diversity. And so yes, we need to be aware of each other's culture. We need to be compassionate about that and accepting of that and celebrating of that. But we also need to recognize that when you work with humans, it is exceedingly diverse. And you can't say that it's this thing or that thing. It's usually a combination of things that make us different. And it's my favorite thing about being human, is how diverse we really, really are, and how so many different factors play together to create the unique thing that is you. There is no one in the world like you. No one. You're the only one like you ever, and will ever be like you. And the brilliance of that, the amazing thing of that, and all of the things that make you the you. And personality is part of that. And multiple intelligences is part of that. And then the next one is temperament. So stay on your feet, turn this direction, and turn your paper to the one that says temperament. Okay? It says temperament. And face this direction. And you can spread out anywhere out here that you like. We're going to face this way, okay? Now, what I want to do is I'm going to have you do two things. One that says temperament. There's 9 temperaments. I got to get to my temperament slide. Hang on. Oh, this is the wrong direction. You know, I probably gave you 6 hours of stuff, and I've only got 3 hours to train, which is usually what Gale does. So I might have to revisit some of this later. Let me see. I need this sorter so I can find this faster. Where's my temperament stuff? Brain, Jenner, brain, Maslow. Okay, it's got to be the other way. I'm running out of time. Okay. There we go. I found it. I'm so excited. Okay. It was in the other part of the thing. We're going to start with this guy. Slideshow, current slide. Okay. So, on your paper it says temperament. You should see these 9 things. Activity level, rhythmicity, approach, withdrawal, adaptability, all the way through attention span. Do you see those things on your paper?
Yes.
And then on the back side of it, right? What else do you see on your paper? Numbers. Numbers, a scale of what? 1 to 10. So here's what we're going to do. What do you think this paper's measuring? These qualities on a scale of 1 to 10. So you're going to think about where are you. For instance, this is the first one, activity level. Now when I look at my paper, where would 1 be? This way, right? Where is 10? That way. If 5, I'm going to be in the middle, 3 here, 7 there. I want you to score yourself and then physically move in the room where you would be on the score. So you just met me, many of you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how active do you think I am? 10. Okay, so I would go on this side of the room, okay? Because I would score myself at a 9 or 10. So score yourself on your activity level. Where would you be? And then put yourself 5 in the middle. If you're in the middle, the same? Right. Excellent. Good. Good. So, perfect. Excellent. All right? Next one. Next one. This has to do with the regularity of your body. Do you have an internal clock? Do you have to eat at a certain time, go to bed at a certain time, play? Are you like Sheldon Cooper in The Big Bang, that your bowels move at 9 o'clock and so they know what room you're in the house at 9 o'clock every morning? Okay, do you have a regular? I do not. Doesn't matter when I eat, doesn't matter when I sleep. I'm as good on 2 hours of sleep as I am on 15. It does not matter. I have no schedule. I have no regularity. So I am a 1 when it comes to rhythmicity. I'm on this side of the room. Excellent. Let's do the next one. Let's do the next one. This has to do with how easily you enter into relationships with others. I believe that there's no significant learning without a relationship. So I am queen of let's build the relationship as quickly as we can. And I just let everybody in, okay? But if you're taking references and you're vetting people, okay, you're going to be on that side of the room. A lot of people, this is the first one that we start getting a lot in the middle. And when I ask you, why do you stand in the middle? This is what people tell me. It depends. So this is the adult diaper section of the group right here. This is the depends section. Okay. Here's the thing. When we're talking about relationship, it does depend. It depends on the person. It depends on the type of relationship. And so many people start moving themselves toward the middle. You guys over here, you are really good about not letting just anybody into your world. You guys over here are like me. We get all kind of people in our world that sometimes shouldn't be there. And these guys over here are going to say like, I told you. Should have paid more attention. Okay? Now, what I usually do with temperament, and part of why I gave you temperament and true colors is you realize the words I know on the other one might need a little dictionary work, but you can do these with your kids, where your kids can see where they are personality-wise and temperament-wise. Now, I could have had you just sit at the chair and fill it out. Why do you think I got you up on your feet and started moving you in the room? Because you're not just learning about yourself, you're learning about others. It's more social. You know, it's more, yeah, hey. And you're finding, you're like walking with people you don't know and you'll be like, do you do this too? And you're like, yeah. And you know, and others you with your friends and you tell your friend, no, you need to go over there because we know how you, and you get that and you people, you know, and what if you're with a group of people and one person, like say I said to myself, oh no, I'm slow to warm up and I go stand over there. Oh, sorry. You know what's hilarious? Yes, that's Skyrim's theme. This is spam, and I forgot to turn off my phone in my own training. How funny is that? Yes, it's really sad. What's also sad is this my screen. I got Wonder Woman on my screen. Okay, so that's just wrong. I know, that's hilarious. But see, you knew Skyrim when you heard it. Yeah, and then I got the one where the dragon actually roars and they hear the blades. And yeah, it's really sad. Okay, here's the thing. What if you put yourself totally in the wrong spot of the room because you see yourself completely different than others see you? And that's what's the beauty of doing it this way, because you can walk up to that person and say, really? You know, I would have put you over there, man. Why, you know, and you can have that conversation about that part of there. Now, look at the list of these things. Do you see how this is more biology and less nurture? This is rhythmicity, the regularity of your body. There's one about senses. Do you tolerate smell, taste, touch? If you can chaperone the middle school dance, you have a high tolerance for sensory input because that dance is loud and smelly. You know, they know the word Axe body spray, but they don't know the word deodorant. You know what I'm talking about? Middle school children. You walk into a middle school dance and your senses are just like, whoa! Right? And some people, they can't go in that room. They just can't go in that room. And other people, they can handle it, okay? So that's very biological. Does that make sense to you? So when I look at people and I try to get them to find a place of common ground, and see, I want you to recognize, if you know what color your kids are, if you know if they're an orange or green or blue and they're having a bad day and that's what's showing up, you'll be like, we understand why he's acting like that. We can be more tolerant of it. And so that's what I want you to know about this. Now, quickly back to your seats. I have 10 minutes, and I need to give you the rest of what's in your packet. I'm not going to even touch the brain stuff. You can read it. I'm going to come back and do another training, and I will train you in it. Okay? So you might have to print the same handouts more than once. Okay. All right. Let me give you the stuff on behavior, because that last 10 minutes, I want to give you stuff on behavior. So the first one I want you to look at is the one that says habits of mind. Habits of mind. It's the one that's a grid that has 16 pictures on it. It's one-sided. Okay? That one right there. Hold that up so they can see that one, so they know they're on the right page. That's it right there. Perfect. Well done. Okay? I want you to look at the first 8 habits of mind and see if you see any that have to do with behavior. Do you see any up here in these first 8 that you think has something to do with kids dealing with their behavior? If you see one, tell me. Raise your hand and tell me. Which one? Yeah, number 2, to manage their impulsivity. Somebody tell me, do you see another one in the first 8 that you think might have something to do with behavior? Thinking flexibly. Yeah. So can you give me the right answer, Greens? The right answer is what? All of them. All 16 habits of mind have something to do with the way kids manage their behavior. Are they persisting? Can they manage their impulsive? Can they be empathetic in the way they listen to others? Can they think flexibly? Do they think about their thinking? How many times you said to a kid that messed up, what were you thinking? You get them to think about their thinking, right? Striving for accuracy, making sure that they're telling the truth and that it's and answering the right questions, understanding what the problem is, taking what they learned yesterday and applying it to tomorrow, past to future. Okay? Look at the next 8. These also have to do with behavior. I want you to take responsible risks. Jump out the plane, but please wear a parachute when you do. I want you to take some chances, but don't be dumb in the chances that you take. My favorite one is to respond with wonder and awe. Every day I want the world to make me say, wow. I just want it. And then finding humor, how much does that help when you've got kids that are having a hard time and they finally get a chance to laugh together and fix it? Doesn't that work with you? When you can't get your problems fixed, and somebody makes you laugh and all of a sudden the solution's there? Because humor and laughter in the neocortex, that's where the future is. That's why you can do that. All 16 habits, if you can get your kids to think like this, they will behave better with each other. Okay? So when you're doing activities, how are you getting your kids to think? The other thing I gave you, I'm skipping the brain stuff. I got to get through this. I'm sorry I don't have time for it because I have 6 minutes. And I want to give you the behavior stuff. On your paper that says James Layman, The Total Transformation. Okay? James Layman, The Total Transformation. Look at all this stuff I didn't get to. I'm going to just go to James Lehman because I want you to see it. I want you to write this at the top of that paper. James Lehman, it says the 16 things kids do to bug you. Looks like, wait, I'm almost there. This guy. 16 things that kids do to bug the crap out of you. You find it? 16 things. Top of that page, I want you to write down this website. Top of that page, I want you to write down this website. Empoweringparents.com. Empoweringparents.com. One word. Empoweringparents.com. Anybody got a cell phone? Look up empoweringparents.com. Google it for me right now. Quick, quick, quick. Somebody pull out your phone. A couple of you pull out your phones. Empoweringparents.com. Look at it. In the upper right-hand corner of that website that says articles. And under articles, behavior articles. Did you find the articles? Are you there? Yeah. Is it loading?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know when you get there. Okay. It says articles. Do you see where it says articles? Hit articles. Now scroll down to where it says behavior articles. And tell me what are the contents that you see there. Should start with anger.
Anger and defiance.
Yes, keep reading. Just laundry list it. Anger, defiance, what's next?
Arguing and fighting.
Keep reading.
Backtalk and attitude.
Keep going.
Bullying.
Keep going. Just read them.
Laziness and motivation. Lying. Manipulation. Outbursts and temper tantrums. Power struggles. School and homework. Self-esteem. Sibling rivalry. Stealing. Substance abuse and risky behavior. Technology and kids. Yelling and swearing.
Do you hear the problems that you have with your children listed in that list? Yes. If you go to this place, now I realize this is a website for parents, but what I love about my friend, she gave you a book about parenting because teaching children is one step away from parenting them. And all you have to do is make a few minor adjustments, and guess what? The stuff works. Every one of these articles is written this way. This is the behavior you're seeing. This is why you're seeing it. Here's something you can do. The biggest complaint I get from staff members and parents is I got this kid who does this and I don't know what to do. That is the best free resource I can give you online that addresses specific behaviors, that tells you here's why, here's what, here's how. These are the 16 things, and on that paper, 16 behaviors kids do to bug the crap out of you. You cannot let this behavior dictate yours. You read through those, you're going to put kids' names next to the numbers. You'll be like, I got a number 7 because I got a kid who uses his anger to manipulate everybody. I got a number 13 because we got a kid who doesn't know how to be truthful. You look at these and you'll see. And if you just can't let this behavior do you. What you can do is these 10 things, and it's on the back side of that paper. If you try these 10 things first, you're going to find you're going to do better with all of the behavior situations you run into. 1, be in charge, but don't be mean. 2, sometimes you just walk away. You say to the kid, where are you supposed to be? Go there. But I say, go there. But I say, you got to go where you got. And I just walk away. I don't get caught in that. Why'd you hit that kid? No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. I saw you. No, that wasn't me. Yes, I don't get in that. I just walk away. Disconnect. Scripting it for the next time. That means that when they mess up, you set up some kind of behavior management system, and when they mess up, you hold them to that system, both good and bad. All right? Number 4. Say it out loud, please. Number 4 up here. Yeah, did they work for you? No. Just have them do something different. Don't argue, don't fight, don't rationalize, don't explain. Just have them do something different and then walk away from the situation. Don't let them suck in all that attention. All right? Number 5, talk about what's happening now. Please give your kids a chance. So many kids come to us with this Santa Claus bag of crap. You know, and we say to them, we throw it out in front of them. You always, you never, every time, last week, 3 times before, la, la, la. And we just keep heaping it on them. I told you I had chalkboards. And what I would do is at the end of the day, the kids that had a hard time in class, I let them erase my chalkboard. And then I walked up to them and I put my arm around their shoulder and I said, what do you notice about the board? And they said, it's empty. I go, yeah, so's tomorrow, you get to start over. And I had some kids that erased my board every single day. And I would walk up next to them and they would look at me and go, I know, I get to start over tomorrow. Yes, and do better. But this idea that we hold them to all of that, you can't get a new story if you keep telling yourself the same ending. And it's the same thing with our kids, okay? Number 6 is a timeout. And by the way, I use stopwatches when I put kids in timeout because I like hockey. Hockey has a timeout. It's called a penalty box. Who puts you in the box? Ref picks you up and puts you there. No, who puts you in the box? Referee blows a whistle and you go, and you go get in the box. But then you get to come back. Who's the first kid kicked out of almost every game? Isn't it the one who needs to play it the most? They need to come back in. And what I love about stopwatches is because I have put children in timeout and then forgotten they were there. And like 30 minutes later, the kid's like, can I play? I'm like, yes, I hope you learned your lesson. I forgot you were there. The other thing about the stopwatch thing is I can time you for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and then I can have this conversation. I say, yesterday you got kicked out 15 times, today only 10. Good job, because you're moving in the right direction. Because a child who gets kicked out 15 is not going to go to 1. It's going to be like 10, 12, 8, 6, 20. Because they're going to forget everything they learned and go back to, and worse than before. Okay, so being able to see the in-between stuff. Number 7, strategic in the way that you praise them. You heard me do it for you today. I went out of my way to pay you compliments and say nice things to you and let you know if you want my attention, then you be brilliant because I'm going to notice. Number 8, what do you know about me? Many of you just met me today, but what do you know about me? What are some things you learned about me in the last few hours? What do you know? I'm what? German's my second language. What else do you know about me? Yeah, I went to school a lot. Yeah. What else?
Very energetic.
I have a lot of energy. What else you know about me? I'm close with my mother. Yeah. What did you say? I'm honest. See? And I play video games. You see, for the last 3 hours, I've been disclosing who I am to you. By the way I interact with you, by the conversations that I have with you, I want you to know who I am so that you see how real I really am. Your kids need to know about you. Now, that doesn't mean sharing the recent breakup with your boyfriend. That's stupid. You don't share that with children. That's TMI, baby. Too much information. But they need to know, what are your hobbies? What are your goals? What are the things? How do you get along with your family? What kind of things are you? Because those are things that they need to learn about themselves. Number 9 says, your actions are going to speak louder than your words. And number 10 is what? That's why I gave you that personality test where the last thing says, this is what people look like when they have a bad day. Because guess what? Sometimes all it is a kid having a bad day. And we need to just say, you know what? We're going to let this one go. We're going to start over tomorrow. We're going to fix what's broken. Now, I have so much more to give you. I'm going to hang out with you guys at your sites. My contact information, all of that. But it's 1 o'clock, and it's time for their little bellies to eat all of that lovely food that you brought. So I'm going to stop here. I'm guessing you're going to see me again. But can I just say this? Thank you for what you do for our kids. Thank you for choosing this as a vocation, to be able to try to do this job. If nobody else has told you, thank you for what you're doing, please know I am so grateful that they have you. So thank you for letting me hang out with you today. So just spent about 3.5 hours with this group. Amazing group. Thank you, Hawthorne, for inviting me to come out. And we're going to get a chance to come back and see them again. Hopefully what we talked about today is going to turn into how they behave with their kids. Because if it's not changing the world, then it's not learned. And we need to make sure we learn it in a way to change the world. So thanks again for hanging out with us. Talk to you soon.